All right. Good evening. Good evening. Look at this. I'm right in the middle this time. Look at this. It's like the Last Supper. Well, not really, but anyway. Good evening. It is American Hammers TV, part of the American Hammers Network. Thanks for joining us. I want to tell everybody right off the bat, I'm sorry about our Bill Gardner interview being postponed. He, I, he's fine. Everything's fine. There was an incident with his car coming out of the Genk game the other night, and he was not able to get to where he needed to go the next day to do the interview with us. So anyway, we are rescheduling that. We will get him on. I really want to talk to him. And actually, I don't make any money off of this. I'm just telling you as a West Ham fan, read his new book. It's amazing. He really reveals a lot about himself. He talks a lot about the club. He talks a lot about the atmosphere around the club in the 60s and 70s, the culture of it, the various firms, where he stood and all that. And again, I don't, I'm just telling you as a West Ham fan, it's an amazing book. It's a quick read. It's incredible. So we'll get him back. We'll get him back. We'll let you know. In the meantime, please help us keep this thing going. ahtv.threadless.com has all of our various gear type things and some West Ham gear as well that you can get. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, man, that would help a lot. So please do that and tell your friends, tell your West Ham friends, tell your non-West Ham friends, tell everybody you know. Like and subscribe, and that's an immense help to us as well. This is a happy Monday evening. We're all very happy to be here. Here we are about 36 hours or so after a brilliant win over Spurs. And now we're looking at 3 games played, 2 in the Prem, 1 in the Europa League, and it's 5 goals scored, none conceded. And we're sitting on top of our Europa League group, and we're sitting 4th in the Premiership. And in all honesty, in years past, I would have said to you, something's going to break, something bad's going to happen. But I don't know. Now I don't know. I think maybe barring injuries, we've turned things around a little bit. I have a lot of faith in David Moyes. I have faith in this team, Declan Rice, these players. So I'm enjoying every minute of this while I can, while it lasts. Anyway, who do we have tonight? With me, as pretty much as always these days, down in Maryland. Who's that? What jersey you got on today? Is it a Crosby jersey?
Yeah, we got Crosby on tonight.
He's got Crosby on tonight. Sidney Crosby was with us. No, it's Lucas actually. It's Lucas, who's just a big Sidney Crosby fan. Yesterday was basically Sunday, just by itself, was basically a perfect sports day for me because West Ham won, which is really what matters most. The Boston Bruins won, and the New England Patriots actually won.
Shit, totally forgot. Penguins won yesterday too.
So there you go. So Sunday, good day. And next to me on the other side, somewhere, everyone's pointing the wrong direction. There he is. My old friend from down in Boston is David. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great. Yeah, life couldn't be better.
Good. My neighbor to the south, not too far away. And our proper Cockney down in the corner, host of eZone 20 TV. Check it out. Go subscribe to it right now. Well, not right now, but in a minute after this is over, go subscribe to it. Or open another tab on your browser and do it. It's James. How are you, James?
Wonderful, mate. Happy Monday to everyone.
Happy Monday to you. Being up late with us. I'm glad we could do this. And, of course, from the Midlands, Leeds.
Which is not the Midlands, but yes.
Yes, the Midlands of the United Kingdom, as they're known. Yes, Leeds, which is a well-known city in Britain. It's...
excuse me, hang a minute. I'd like my title changed because now that my place of birth is now officially recognised as a city. Only took an MP to get stabbed, but Southend is now a city. So we can say from the city of Southend.
From the city of Southend. I like that. From the city of Southend. There's a lot of ends. It's Tuam, as we'd say in Boston. It's Tuam. How you doing, Tuam?
Yeah, not too bad.
How you doing, kid? No, all you with us they say, what's good? What's good, kid? What's good? What's good, kid?
What's good, kid?
What's up, fellow kids?
Yeah. How do you do, fellow kids? Yeah, exactly.
I just think of Peter Griffin every time I think of Boston. I can't help it.
Well, Peter Griffin lives in Rhode Island, which is like
pretty much.
It's like
pretty much
the
same thing.
All the worst parts of Boston. You know how like the grease drips down from your burgers or steaks or whatever, and it makes that nasty stuff down in the pan? That's kind of what happens to Rhode Island.
That's Providence, Rhode Island.
A little bit. Actually, I love Providence. I do. The Italian food in Providence, I think, is better than the Italian food in Boston. I'm sorry,
I
Dave,
don't like their
but
Italian accents.
Well, but Rhode Island is, I mean, it's a culture unto itself. So, but yeah, that's where Peter Griffin lives, is in Rhode Island. So, still part of New England, and we love New England. So, I give him my support, but it is a little bit the dripping pad of New England. Although Connecticut's even worse. Anyway, let's talk about Sunday, yesterday. Let's talk about a fantastic, brilliant win over Spurs. With one of the funniest goals I've seen in many years, where Mikel Antonio is just standing behind a defender, just stands there, and the ball kind of hits his leg, and he goes in, and the guy turns around like, what? Or I don't know who the defender was. I never know.
It was Harry Kane.
It's Harry Kane. See, I never pay attention to the other team's players, only our players. So Harry Kane is standing there. You know how he is anyway. He got that slack-jawed look. He's like, what? And Antonio's just standing behind him, and he taps it home. So, standout thoughts to you from the game. Lucas, I'll start with you. Other direction. Next to me. Lucas, I'll start with you.
I want to start off with a funny tweet that I saw from this I can't remember what his name is. It's just some knobhead that does Spurs vlogs or whatever, and he tweeted he tweeted, he's like, Kane was useless today. It's like he didn't care. And I just had to quote tweet him and go, because he doesn't care. He doesn't want to be there.
He doesn't want to be there. This is what happens when you keep an athlete somewhere where he does not want to be. They are human beings. It's like you, if you're in a job you hate and you have another job and your boss says, no, actually, you can't leave. I know this doesn't really happen outside of sports. Your boss says you can't leave. What are you going to do? You're not going to put in your best effort.
But besides that, I don't think we played particularly well. We played good enough. We hung on. I thought we were the better team first 15 minutes, and then it was like a really boring 20, and then Spurs were on our throat the last 5 minutes of the half, and then it was quite boring until we scored, and then we thankfully held on.
I mean, it's not a bad assessment, really, is it? I'm not saying it's our best performance, but honestly, I don't really care.
To be honest with you, though, I think most of that was largely down to Spurs, genuinely, because I think the way that Spurs set up, I think it almost confused us a bit because
well, they set up like us. They set up like us, basically.
Yeah. The thing is, I understand that Nuno is a defensive manager that, you know, when he was at Wolves, liked to play on the counter-attack in that sort of system. But obviously the last few weeks, especially against lesser teams, what we saw against Newcastle, they'll eventually break teams down by passing round and creating that opening, and they tried to hit that diagonal ball all the time to Reguilon at left back across the pitch. So I think they possibly expected us to break at that point. But the thing is, I don't think people have been he must not have watched us recently, and we don't break in those situations. Everybody's regimented well in that back four. We defend very, very well as a team.
Yes.
You know, 3 clean sheets in a week should have probably highlighted to them that it wasn't going to be as easy as just passing it round and eventually breaking us down, because I don't think that we do that these days. I think we were almost, thankfully, you know, on the counter-attack, we looked good at times, but it wasn't our best game because I think Spurs set up to do that. But there was just no threat. I did not fear the threat from Spurs once on Sunday.
Yeah, their possession stats were meaningless. They would just pass it around the area.
That's really funny. That's funny you bring that up, David. First of all, Arthur, thank you for this. This is a brilliant comment and a lot of good insights. We appreciate you offering this to us. And don't worry, I'm keeping it all PG, okay? I just have to... What I was trying to bring up, I'll see if it works this time. It didn't work last time. I'll see if it works this time. It flickered last time like the light in my bedroom closet. I was doing it again. Oh, that is a bummer. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I'll stop. Anyway, it's the famous tweet that probably many of you saw that says, this is from the Spurs
I'm getting
web.
hung up in my room.
This is from the Spurs web, all right? Apparently a Spurs Twitter account. Maybe it's I don't know, what blog or something. Breaking with a big siren light. Okay, I like reading it even better than showing it. All right, breaking, big red siren. All the outfield players who started against Newcastle will not, capital letters, N-O-T, travel to Vitesse and instead will prepare for West Ham on the weekend. and it's attributed to somebody I don't know. This includes Emerson, Romero, Dyer, Regulion, whatever his name is, Hoiberg, Skip, Dumbele, Mora, Kane, and Son. They will not play against Vitesse. They will prepare for West Ham on the weekend. What do you think happened? They lost to Vitesse, and then they lost to West Ham.
If Carlsberg did Sundays,
they get battered everywhere they go, and it's just, I just love it. I'm going to tell you something, though. The minute I saw that tweet, and this was October 20th, so this was several days before the match, I said to myself, there's no way we lose this game. We might draw, but there's no way we lose this game with them putting all this emphasis on it. It's too much. The thing
is, though, as well, it's not just a Nuno thing. Last few years with Mourinho as well, these are some great attacking players that they have, but the managers they brought in are very much defensively focused. And like I said, the fact that they wanted to play that possession football just played into our hands completely. We weren't at our best, yes, but at the end of the day, we kept a clean sheet and we made it count from a set piece when it mattered. So.
Because that's what we do, right? That's what we do. They played right into our hands.
But the thing is, we're not just a set piece team, but we are that dangerous that if you give us a set piece, 6-7 times out of 10, we may end up converting one. And thankfully, that's sort of been our bread and butter the last week. I mean, what is it? 4 goals from 5 that came from set pieces this week. So, if you play into our hands in that way, then we'll take advantage of it.
Wally asked if Vitesse any good. They just lost to a club with one of my favorite names in all of sports.
It's not Willem Sway, is it?
Go Ahead Eagles. They're called
Go Ahead Eagles. Go Ahead Eagles in the Dutch League.
Go Ahead Eagles in the Dutch League. So they played in the Dutch League this week. I'm going to try the screen share again. So here we go, Rebecca. I'm moving the monitor, but I'm only going gut high. If it doesn't work, I won't be able to do this tonight. There we go. Beauty. All right. Go Ahead Eagles in the Dutch League. And look at how they lost. They Spursed it. They lost on a penalty in the 91st minute. It's beautiful. So are they any good? I don't know, but they weren't any good on this weekend when
they beat Spurs. That's all that matters.
They beat Spurs and then they lost to Go Ahead Eagles, and but the symmetry of that is beautiful. It's just like a natural progression. All right. Anyway, David, how about you? What'd you think about Sunday?
I thought it was confusing how Spurs set up. They had a lot of the possession. It was like 2 counterattacking teams playing against each other. They both were 4-3-2-1. We were kind of going through the wings to attack. They were going through the center. I actually thought Spurs had like 3 semi-good chances, but were let down by their passing in the final third. I think Lucas Moura had a man open and missed a pass. So did Harry Kane.
Yep.
Even aside from those 3 threats where they kind of mispassed it, they didn't offer much. I agree that large parts of the game were kind of boring. They weren't exciting, but I think that's just like Tom said. That's because of the way both teams were set up. Right. And I think it's been telling that the past 2 matches against Everton and Spurs, we haven't really looked our best, but we've kept our shape. We've stuck to our game plan. We've scored on set pieces. Our passing isn't as crisp as it was in our heyday at the beginning of last campaign, where we could do no wrong. Sometimes seems like when they should pass the ball forward to the man running on, they pass it backwards. When they should pass it backwards, they pass it forwards in the final third. It doesn't seem to be totally in sync, but I think it's telling that despite that, we're still getting results and trucking on. And that's kind of a good feeling. That's kind of the mark of a good team, where you're not playing your best, but you're still grinding out the results.
We've said on here many times, and I know I've said on here many times, this season I've said over and over, we're going to have to score goals in order to win games because we're a little bit vulnerable defensively. Then what do we do in our last 2 Premier League games? 1-0 wins with rock solid defending and questionable attack, but good enough on set pieces.
And
get it done. So I think what you're saying, David, is basically we have found multiple ways to win this season. And I like that because it shows that we're adaptable and that we're not predictable. Anyway, I've been making him wait the whole time, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:20 in the morning. So, James, how about you? What'd you think?
It was good, mate. It was good. It wasn't a perfect game, but we got the job done at the end of the day. I was hearing of what everyone's saying, but let's be honest, if Antonio don't score, that ends up being a 0-0 draw for us because we was shy in the final third.
Yeah,
all 4 of them weren't great. Like Bowen
Fornell's
played
all
all right.
over the place. Fornell's hitting the astronaut over and over again.
Yeah.
Benrahma, not a great showing in the final.
And basically, at the end of the day, Kirk Zuma, mate, is the difference between us being a good team and us being a very, very good team. I think he deserves a lot of respect. I think Fabianski deserves a lot of respect. He kept us in the game.
He was fantastic. I'm glad you said that.
He
Nobody mentioned him. He was great.
He deserves a bit of respect. But there's one man that I think had an absolute fantastic game. And
Please,
when
before
he plays,
before I say this, Lucas, you have one chance to recant on your comments and what you said the other week after the Everton game. I'm thinking about the man that James is about to say. You have one chance, Lucas. Do you take it back?
Not for that match, but for this. I mean, I keep it real.
Go ahead, James.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson was outstanding.
Yeah, no.
He was
Go ahead,
phenomenal.
James. Say it again.
Thing
James.
is, at the end of the
Say it
day,
again,
when he
James.
plays in his natural position, which
Ben
is a
Johnson.
right back,
Ben Johnson.
he does it very, very well.
Sorry to interrupt, but conversely, as much of an outstanding match as Ben Johnson had, both defensively, and he had some long balls that he delivered down the pitch that were impressive. Aaron Cresswell was equally getting an equally good game, and I think James has mentioned some of his defensive shortcomings, which I find to be true, but he makes up for it with his crosses. He's so good at crossing. It helps us on our set pieces. It just helps us be more threatening. So I think
but the difference
you might sacrifice some defense there, but you kind of gain more in what he offers on the offensive side. And we have some players in defense and midfield who can kind of cover for him.
That's a
So I think Cresswell's importance is understated.
Are you talking about Cresswell? Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing is with Cresswell is sometimes his crossing ability is hit and miss.
Yeah.
Like Ben Johnson's come in a week and he's played 3 outstanding games in a week.
Oh, I'm not discounting Ben Johnson at all. I was just making a separate point.
And when Ben Johnson was playing on the left-hand side because we had no left back, people were criticising him and prepared to dig him out because saying he's not good enough to be in a West Ham shirt. Now, to me, that boy deserves to be. This boy deserves to not only be in a West Ham shirt, but he deserves to sign a new contract also, and he should be signing a new contract.
And anybody who said that, James, anybody who said that did not watch him play against Manchester City. What was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
when he made his debut. They haven't been watching him. He's a natural right back. He's out of position at left back. He's decent at left back. He's very good at right back, and we still need a left back. That's part of the problem.
I want to say I'm a Ben Johnson believer. I just wasn't goo goo gaga over him against Everton, but I am a believer. I want him to sign a new contract.
Tom is either digging out or rocking a baby. I can't really tell what you're doing down there.
That was my digging motion.
He's trying to say Lucas is digging his grave.
He's going to have to dig for a while to fit me down in the dirt.
Nah,
Lucas keeps it real, but remember, Lucas, when keeping it real goes wrong, okay? You know, Dave Chappelle taught us all about when keeping it real goes wrong.
I've also been OG.
I just want to say, don't forget about that.
Fabianski camp when everyone was.
I will still criticize the man's distribution, but then again, Areola's isn't exactly the best either. But no, I think honestly, Ben Johnson, he reminds me very much of Soufal, and I think this is the difference between Johnson and Soufal and Fredericks, although they're not blessed with a ton of pace, even though the commentators love to mention the fact that his uncle's Paul Parker and he's related to sprinters and stuff. But his ability to understand when to go forward and when to be back, and the no-nonsense defending that he has, which is very similar to what Soufal is. Fredericks, I think, is just a bit of a headless chicken sometimes down that right, who gets caught forward and then will just rely on his pace to come back every single time, which gets him into trouble more than it doesn't. So I think Johnson is very, very similar to what Soufal offers attacking-wise, because he can do that. There was a shot in the first half that I know he sliced across at, but we would expect to see Soufal in a similar sort of position in that area of the pitch. So for me, I think he's very, very much in the mould of Soufal. And if James says he does deserve to get that new contract going forward, hopefully, because Soufal's not as old as he, is not as young as Johnson, that when Soufal begins to age a little bit, that Johnson can slide in there and stick around. But I'd be gutted if we let him go, because clearly he is the right back of ours for the future. So I just thought he was exceptional. What is it? He's not conceded in 450 or something minutes this week or something, or in terms of overall game time. It's ridiculous.
Ben Johnson at right back, to my memory, has never had a bad game for us at right back.
But
Because
the
that's
thing
where
is,
not a bad player, Lee.
If
That's
you
what I
think
mean.
Bad
about,
player.
Yeah,
you
he's
think
that's
about
what.
the players, and I said this last weekend to Lucas. I know when we were saying it. He kept Damari Gray quiet because he was one of the most informed wingers in the league going into that game. He kept him quiet. Son and Mora pretty much did nothing for 90 minutes. Reguilon down that left-hand side was absolutely woeful, and that's all because of Ben Johnson. And he had the tough task against Gencon thingy of Budonga or Bugunga or something like that. Cresswell was found out about. Cresswell was found out because of the pace that Ito had to get in behind him, but it's still 3 very good, tough opponents to face in a week, and he's just made them look.
Because for how good Cresswell is, he can't handle pace. And when there's pacey players up against Cresswell, which I have been saying on numerous occasions, he gets exposed. But with Ben Johnson on the other side and Bowen, I thought they worked well as a pair. I thought they done well. They doubled up. They got pace. They got energy. And that's what you want. Cafel's good, mate. Don't get me wrong. I love Cafel to bits. And I think he's been one of the best right backs that West Ham's had for about 25, 30 years. But
it's Repka.
When I look at Tim Breaker, I'm afraid. Tim Breaker, but I'm going back. But at the end of the day, you got to look at it. Ben deserves a contract. He's better than Fredericks.
No question he's better than Fredericks. And he deserves a contract. I think
there's
no doubt about that. Now the question is, Vernon brought this up, and this is a question I've seen asked a lot on social media. If Tufal is healthy going into Manchester City and Villa, I would say particularly Villa, on next weekend. Who steps in? Do you keep Ben Johnson in, or do you put Tufal back in if they're both 100% ready?
Ben Johnson can't be dropped, mate.
Not at the moment. I wouldn't drop Ben Johnson, no.
Well, I don't care how good Cafel is and how good Cafel's been. I think Ben Johnson's on the plan, literally the best football of his career at the minute.
Yeah, you've got to treat it like the Fabianski Areola situation.
Look at this heat map. I mean, tell me the guy doesn't know how to play right back. Look at that. I mean,
but that's the thing. And I reckon if you looked at Tufal over the season, he would look very similar to that.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's basically perfect. I mean, here you see him in the attacking zone. You see him putting balls in. You know what he's doing up here. You see him. It's just. I mean, he comes in. He sags back when he needs to in defense back into the area. But this is just like. I mean, if you were going to just draw up like a perfect, I'm pointing at the wrong screen. You can't see my cursor. If you're going to draw up like a perfect, right back heat map, that's basically it. I
think the main thing that's like super refreshing about Ben Johnson is that he already has his defensive game like as his foundation, and he's only going to improve going forward. And if I'm building a team with fullbacks, I'd rather my fullbacks just have that defensive foundation first, and then as they grow, their attacking is only going to get better in their crossing.
I'm a big fan and believer in building out from the back, and always have been. But I love defenders and defending.
That's why I have time for Ben Johnson. Like I really don't mind him being the best crosser in the world. He's a decent dribbler. I'd like to see him maybe take someone on a bit more, but just because he's already a solid defender, I have time for him to develop going forward.
Well, that's the thing. If we're saying that he's as good as Tufal is at the moment, or maybe just a tiny bit off, and the fact that he's as young as he is, he has that time to grow into that, which is the best thing.
This is a different question, Rebecca. That's a different question. That I don't know, because you know how Moyes is.
I don't think he will. I think he'll start Tufal instead.
He sticks with his guys. Yeah. James, you were saying, go ahead.
I don't understand that though. If he comes in with Safel, because no player should be guaranteed a starting spot because they're a name. At the end of the day, like when you look at Ben Johnson, but at the end of the day, Ben Johnson's done nothing, and I do mean nothing in 3 games to deserve to be dropped against anyone. Like
no, I know. But for instance, look at last year when Ben Rama started to come good at the end of the season. He picked Jesse Lingard week in, week out. When Ben Rama should have had more game time at that time, I think because he has his favourites, it could be something that happens.
Yeah, he really believes in the core, David Moyes, and then working other players in.
But then you've also got to look at it. You got Kirk Zuma in there, who's to me is one of the best signings I've seen West Ham make as a centre half for a long time. And I feel that for how good Cafel is, and he is very, very good, Cafel, I think Ben is a sort of player who can get the ball and get up the pitch a lot faster than Cafel can. I think defensively, Cafel's very good. I think positionally, he's very good. He reads the game well. He's got that sort of skullfuggery about him. But Ben's got that sort of athletic ability to go from defence to attack faster than Cafel.
But I think
last
Kufal's a better crosser of the ball. Though,
yeah, Kufal's this season.
I think he's a better. I mean, he may be slower, but I think he's better. He's better with the ball. He's a better crosser of the ball.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
I agree with that.
So I mean, I actually think Tufal is a little more effective in attack because of his passing ability.
Yeah.
The problem is if he is a liability, it is, as you said, James, because he's not the fastest guy. And
but
Ben
he
Johnson
uses his head a lot more, though.
But that's the thing. He's older. He's a little bit wiser. And here's the other thing. And I love Ben Johnson. It's not a criticism of him at all. Tufal is scarier. The dude looks like an axe murderer. I mean, the first time I saw a picture of him, I thought this guy is
the wide-eyed one.
It's all
right.
now.
Yeah,
he's just escaped from
I
a
understand
psych
that.
you know.
I understand.
That's an intangible. That's an intangible, though.
Like, but I don't want it to be a favoritism at West Ham because let's be honest here, like Souček has had not a very good season so far. Right,
Not
and
really.
he's constantly picked, and there's other players on the bench who could come on and do the same job as him better, i.e. Alex Krell, and they're nowhere to be seen because there's favouritism at the club, and I don't know who that is. Obviously,
well, first of all, Krell had COVID. He couldn't play because he had COVID. But do you think Krell could step in for Souček right now?
I think Krell's a very, very good player, mate.
In the Premier League, do you think he could step in for Souček?
I don't think we know. We haven't really seen him in a Premier League match.
Fair answer, but I'm just saying, what it
is, it's like
to say that basically.
The problem we've got with it is that we've got a lot of players in the team where they've got no competition. Let's be honest here. Like, if you look at the goalkeeper situation, Fabianski's got a good goalkeeper behind him. Ben Johnson, Kafal on the right-hand side. There's competition. Suma's guaranteed to play. Bonner's got either Dawson or Diop to compete with. Right. Cresswell's got no left back to deal with. Rice, no comment. Move on. Souček, let's be honest, he's had a poor start to the season. Yeah. He's had one good game recently. Yeah. And let's be honest, against Brentford, he should have been subbed. And Alex Krell should have been on the pitch. Yeah. We can get into the Ben Rama thing. Ben Rama hasn't been great. He was awful on yesterday, and I thought he was poor.
He had a bad game yesterday.
And I will be the first one to say that because I'm not a biased West Ham fan who's going to just go and back him up every time and say he's amazing when he's not.
Right.
And then you got to look at it that there's a lot of players like Antonio scores the goal, but Antonio's overall gameplay yesterday wasn't great. He couldn't hold the ball up. He was running from left to right, going to the wings. And it just seems to me that there's a lot of favouritism, which I'm hoping isn't going to start coming in. There's got to be. There comes a time when players have to be picked in a team because they deserve to be there.
We'll see that though in the next few weeks because we've got so many games between now and Christmas that will come, and he knows that he will have to rotate. But I don't look at it like favouritism. I look at it like it's actually a luxury that we can now rely on backups in certain positions where previously maybe we couldn't. So now I look at it and I think I don't see it as favouritism between Johnson and Soufal. I think it's whoever gets the start will be able to do a job for us. I don't think that about every.
Not so much with Johnson. Not so much with Johnson Kafal because Kafal is the better right back. Right, and so that one's sort of like I understand that one, but Souček hasn't really done it this year. Like Ben Rama should have been subbed at the weekend, and Vlasic should have been on the pitch. Vlasic, and we're getting. I'll say about Vlasic. Vlasic hasn't played in the last 3 Premier League games. He's not got on the pitch in the last 3 Premier League games, and there's got to be a reason for that. Like I don't understand why.
Well,
like,
I mean, but you know.
Oh, sorry, Lee. I was just going to piggyback on what Tom says. Is that I think it's some of this problem that we're discussing might just solve itself. I mean, Ben Johnson will probably start against Man City just because we want to rotate, and it's really hard to compete in the Carabao Cup,
I could see
the Europa League, and the Premier League at the same time. Yeah. I think players are going to get so tired that the subs are just going to happen naturally, and then we'll see if they can hold their weight. I don't. Like Tom said, I don't think it's a matter of favoritism. I think it's a matter of using the personnel you have to try to get the most points possible out of your schedule. So as the chips play out, and we may have injuries too, players who we don't think are going to get some run or be forced to get some run.
The difference with that is that in the Europa League, you've got the 5 sub rule. And the 5 sub rule helps us massively because we can just go, right, we can get off near enough half our team. Right, we can go, right, our 6 reserve players like Areola, Dawson, Diop, Ben Johnson, Krau, Vlasic, Yarmolenko, Lanzini, for instance. We can play them for 90 minutes.
James, let me ask you this. What did you think about, because I just want to make sure this is correct, and it is correct. I'm remembering correctly. Souček played 90 minutes against Genk. I was really surprised. Now, I know Krau wasn't available. I realized that because he was in the COVID protocol. But I was surprised he played 90 minutes. I
don't understand it, Lee. If you want me to be truthfully honest.
I totally agree with you there. James, he looks totally gassed. He looks tired. Yeah. I don't even think it's his football brain or his effort is going wrong. He's genuinely tired.
And the way I look at it is I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Like on Wednesday night, we've got Manchester City at the LS, and I expect, this is me being realistic here, I expect Krau to play. I expect Vlasic to play.
I do too.
And if Krau does not play on Wednesday night against Manchester City, we've literally signed 2 players who's not even getting on the pitch. And there's been games this year, like the last 2 games, fair enough, we've won the games 1-0, but we've been poor in both. Everton away, we was good at the start, but then we sort of run out of ideas and we managed to nick a goal. And even against Spurs, we started off well. It went flat in the middle. They sort of kicked into gear towards the end of the second half. It took for 4-0 to have a row with their centre half to get the game up and running, and then we was away and then we scored.
But let me
I actually have an interesting question for you, James. Though you complained in the past about the slow manner in which David Moyes brought Said Benrahma on. And that you argued that he should get more playing time. Right. But now Said Benrahma is a starter.
Right.
And he's matured. So perhaps bringing players along slowly, like David Moyes is doing now with Vlasic, turns out good in the end. Because if you're arguing that Said Benrahma has come good, was it because of David Moyes' approach to bring him along slowly and making sure he tracked back and didn't do those crazy flare moves in the defensive end?
Not really, because when Benrahma was at the club, we had Haller. We had a centre forward along with Antonio. In January, Haller went. We brought in Lingard, and Lingard turned into prime Messi. Benrahma has come along, and I knew he'd come along. But the problem is with that is, and it all goes back to the same old thing that I've been saying for a long, long time, is we've got no cover in key positions. And what me and Lee discussed last week is that one injury from a crisis. Like, let's be honest, if we lose Antonio or we lose Cresswell, we've got no cover in them positions. And then we're putting square pegs in those. Right, and at the end of the day, when I look at, for instance, Vlasic, there's 3 Premier League games now that he has not got on the pitch. Now, there is no excuses why that man is not getting on the pitch. I'm sorry, but there ain't. Brentford, we was poor in that game. He should have been on the pitch well before anyone, right? He's a 33.
I still think, though, it's like I said to you last week, is that the time that Lanzini came on against Everton and against Spurs is when we were looking to, let's say, shore up the game. And I do believe it's because he rates Lanzini's defensive work rate more than he does Vlasic's at the moment.
But let's be honest, for a £33.5 million signing, Tom, and me and you discussed it last week, he should be playing. And he should be getting on the pitch at some point.
And I was glad that he got at least 80 or 75 minutes against Genk. I think he looked better, but again, when I was watching that game against Genk, he was playing out on the left a lot, and that's not his natural position. He's in behind the striker because he's not got electrifying pace to play down the wing. I don't think he's as quick as Benrahma, especially when he's dribbling with the ball. But his strength is that he is a strong built cam that can play in behind the striker, but he just looks lost out on the wing. So I think it's a bit of both. I don't like, and it's the same with Benrahma. Last season, he was kind of pushed out wide because Lingard was playing through the middle. But this season, when we saw him, especially at the start, I don't think he's been amazing the last few weeks. But when he plays in behind a striker, he's a lot more effective in what he does. So I just think I don't see Vlasic's natural position being out on the wing. And I think that is a detriment to him as well, because when he hopefully, and I mean, he had a few chances. He had a chance to score. I was praying to God that the ball went in the back of the net for our discussion last week. But there were signs that he looked a little bit better. But I don't think he's being helped, by the fact that the starting front four have had a good start to the season, although last few weeks haven't been good. But I don't think any of those guys are droppable right now. So, but I wouldn't.
It's not being droppable though. It's not being droppable.
I would say Bowen's undroppable. I would say Fornal's undroppable. Obviously, Antonio's undroppable because he's only striker. And I think you have to rely on what Benrahma did in the first few weeks of the season, because he does show glimpses of that every single week. So I would say that
actually he only used two, Wally. He only used two. Anyway, guys, go ahead. I just want to clear that up.
I just Antonio's not undroppable. Antonio plays well, but then sometimes he goes missing.
But he's the only striker we have. That's why he's undroppable. There's nobody else in that position.
That game yesterday has shown for me how far Antonio's come, because that was a very heads-up striker play to do inside of the box what he did, and that nous has come to him since he's been playing.
But take the goal away and be realistically honest here.
Oh yeah, no,
everyone. I asked everyone.
But James, to be fair, you can't take the goal away. That was the match winner, and it was a brilliant goal. He snuck in behind Harry Kane and tapped the ball with his.
I understand that.
It's
but you've also got
a great poacher's goal.
It's a 90-minute game, and if he's not done anything for 70 minutes, fair enough, he's nicked the goal. But then he didn't do anything.
But I still think he did cause some havoc amongst the centre halves, because he absolutely launched Romero.
He tossed a few on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. He did it to Romero, did it to Reguilon.
He's still a bully they don't like to see coming. He's still a runaway train.
But you could tell how annoyed they were in the moment when Fornals went down and Romero went and sort of got into his face. So clearly he was winding him up.
I saw actual spit when I was watching it live.
He spit on him, Tom.
What are you doing? I swear to God.
Why would you do this to somebody unless you're spitting on him?
There's a doctored image going around. He did not spit on him.
I know that image is doctored. I'm not talking about that image. I'm talking about watching.
I swear to God, I saw spit come out of his mouth live.
It's not the image. The image is doctored. I know that. What are you doing if you do this to somebody? What are you doing?
I know it looked like it, but at least like when I remember when I was at the Masuaku game at Wigan, I was there. You could see, especially on the replays, that he actually the spit coming out of his mouth. You would have seen something. There was nothing. He got down.
Maybe his mouth was dry.
I thought I saw spit coming out of
his mouth. Was dry. Listen.
He probably swore at him in Spanish, and that was it.
No, if he didn't spit on him, he tried to spit on him. The only way you make that gesture over somebody is to spit on the person. You don't do that
to make you think you're spitting on them so they'll overreact.
Right. He didn't. You don't say something. You don't go like this. You go, hey, what are you saying? You don't.
He made it to call him a big old pooter, and then just stuck his head down.
I'll see you next Tuesday.
I'm sorry, I still believe
but it takes that incident to get us going. Like, that game
which was totally
but hang on, let me back up a little bit if you guys don't mind. All right, listen, I mean, we're talking about in the last two Premier League games how poor we've been. 6 points, okay, three at Goodison Park, where for many years we never ever got a result. 3 against these days our biggest rival, because we don't play Millwall anymore, right? You know, at home, where we haven't had good form in the Premier League for weeks. I mean, I've got to tell you, I've got to be honest. I know it hasn't always been brilliant football. I know they haven't been brilliant performances, but I am super happy right now because we're grinding out these results. And Moyes has found a way. He finds a way to win when it's 4-1 or 3-1 or whatever. He finds a way to win when it's 1-0. I'll take 1-0s from here into the end of time if that's what it takes. You know, I don't mind it at all.
Cliche, if you can pick up results when you're not playing well, it's the mark of a good team. So
it's the mark of a well-managed team, I think.
But what it is, though, Lee, I understand that, and I agree. I'll take 1-0s, but
I'm just going to go change my shirt. Very hot.
Right, the front four.
Tom, why turn the camera off? Come on, Tom.
The front four haven't been mustered in they haven't been on fire.
And it will
Right.
catch up with us, and I know it will.
Yeah.
I know it will, and I see what you're saying. And I'm not saying it's sustainable to put in these below par performances and nick these 1-0 wins. I know that's not going to continue on into infinity.
Yeah.
It's just that. So I know we have to get better. It's just that when we're not playing well and we're still winning, I think that is something we have never done in the time I've watched West Ham, which is not as long as the time you've watched West Ham. But the time I've watched West Ham, we've never done that ever.
Yeah, but defensively, and this is where I've got to say Kirk Zuma's a difference.
Very good. Yeah. Very good.
And since Kirk Zuma's been at the club, he's had. Well, I don't even think he had a bad game against Brentford. Like me personally, I thought he played all right, but it was more Bonner who was the worst one. But the last 3 games, we've kept a clean sheet in every one of them. We've scored goals.
Yes.
I just look at it that I hope we're not sort of blagging this. We're nicking wins, which is good. Like we're fourth in the league. We're playing well. But then the way I look at it is if the front four don't fire, then we're relying on centre halves like to nick us a goal.
Well, you remember last season, you know, how many goals did Souček have? He had like 8 goals, 10 goals last season. Souček was our leading scorer up until the final weeks of the season.
And Souček scored the other day.
It's true as well, though, what Scholesy said the other day is before the Man United game, which was you do come up against a Liverpool and Man City, and then they will smash you when you're at your worst. And I think that for us is a true test because Pep will rotate and he'll bring in his other £100 million signings, and they will probably bop us off the park.
And he likes defeat.
And we saw what Liverpool did to Manchester United yesterday as well. Manchester United not at their best. By the way, did I see something about Paul Scholes?
Yeah, that's why I said he likes defeat.
But it was his daughter. It was his daughter.
It's just very strange.
How old is his daughter?
It's grim. Can we not?
How old is his daughter?
Like 18.
Does it matter?
No. But okay. I didn't really see the video. If his daughter's like 3, that's kind of a, you know what I mean? That's a like a cute thing to do. But I didn't really see the video. I just keep reading about it. So it was she's like not
that
a
unfortunately
child.
popped up into one of my inboxes, and it
past
probably ruined
toddler,
the rest of my year.
Past toddler stage, you know, you can't do that anymore.
Boosh.
But when they're little tiny babies, you know, it's fine. I mean, you know, but if it's anything beyond that, I don't know what you're into at that point. I don't
know what's worse.
And who films it? Who's filming it?
Who's
filming it?
Or biting toenails?
Dude, sucking toes. If people want to do that, I don't care. It's his daughter. All right, it's his daughter. I mean, if people
was recording it.
Oh,
and
she was recording it.
Well, True Love as well.
Oh,
she put True
Love. That's why it's so grim. I can't.
That's some Serge Gainsbourg. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. That's messed up. All right. Anyway, now I will not think of Paul Scholes without thinking of that. I mean, how are you going to think?
I mean, every time I hear defeat now, I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head.
Paul Scholes and Rex Ryan, but at least Rex Ryan, it was his wife. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, that's an American sports reference. I'm sorry. Anyway, Rex Ryan was the coach of the New York Jets, and he
does punditry over here in the UK for Sky Sports.
Does Rex? Oh, he does. Okay, he's kind of an entertaining guy. I don't mind him actually.
Rob Ryan's Gandalf, isn't he? And Rex Ryan's the.
Rob Ryan
looks a lot like you, actually.
Rob Ryan does look a lot like me, but I'm telling you this: I've lost some weight, so I look less like Ron Ryan than I used to. I used to look a whole lot like him, and now I look a little bit less.
I wasn't going for the weight; it was more just the hair.
No. I think Rob Ryan, by the way, is a very nice-looking man. I do. I think he's an extremely attractive man. So I just want to throw that out there. Anyway, I can't think of Paul Scholes now without thinking of that's really bizarre. Anyway, I don't even know what we're talking about. You said Paul Scholes was saying something. He took his daughter's foot out of his mouth, and he said something. What did he say?
He said that when Man United come up against a Liverpool or Man City, they cannot do what they've done the last few weeks against Atalanta, Villarreal, and whoever they had in the league. Or Leicester, sorry, because they'll just get found out. And I do think it is the same with us when we do come up against those top teams. If we're not at our best, like we say we haven't been, especially attacking, we will not make a dent in those teams. And I think we will get exposed in that way. Defensively, we may be a better side than what United are. But I think the attacking wise, I don't think we'll nick one of those set piece goals because we just won't have the ball for long enough. The possession will be completely in their favour.
We won't have a corner. Oh, man, why am I flickering? I was trying to get Rob Ryan up here. Well, you can sort of see him. My screen share is not working well tonight. I don't know why, but you get the idea. He's a very handsome gentleman, Rob Bryan. And he enjoys life. He's a bon vivant. He's got what's the word about? He enjoys fine cuisine, so he's a connoisseur.
He enjoyed pissing Sean Payton off every week.
Well, I admire him. I can tell you that. I think his aesthetic is superb. Listen. I think Manchester City, regardless of who they put out, because it'll still be hundreds of millions of pounds of players, even if it's their third team, it will be an enormous test for us. The question now is, what do we do? I mean, it's League Cup. It's got to, granted, we get through this if we actually manage to win this game on Wednesday. We're into the quarterfinals, right? Is that not right? I think it is.
Last 16, I think it is.
Is it the last 16? Well, maybe it's the last 16.
No,
but
Carabao.
Anyway,
I thought that is the quarters for the Carabao because it's not a bigger competition, is it?
No.
Now I don't really remember.
I think it is the last 16 at the moment. I don't think there's more than 16 teams. There's not 32 in there.
That's what I mean. I think we're in the last 16 now.
Yeah.
Is that not the case? I think it is.
Yeah, that is the case.
So we would be. So if we won, we'd be in the quarterfinals. We'd be down to the final 8.
The round of 16 is that week.
I think because we've sold out for Wednesday, I think Moyes will probably put out, obviously not the strongest team, but I wouldn't be surprised if with the whole Ben Johnson right back thing going on, I wouldn't be surprised to see Soufal start on Wednesday if he's fit. And then hopefully Král is healthy or whatever you want to call it, cured. I don't know.
Well, he should be fine by now. I think he was just in quarantine.
And then it's got to be Souček or Rice next to Král. And I mean, Rice is always up for a game, even though I don't want him to run himself into the ground.
Yeah, but he's like 22. I mean, I think we have to rest Souček. I think we have to. I think.
Yeah, he looks so tired.
Him out there. Yeah.
I mean, if I had to pick between Soufal or Rice to start on Wednesday, I'd probably go Rice.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to rest Souček. I mean, the guy gives blood for us week after week. I mean, he gets his face stomped on, gets plastic surgery, comes out and plays like 4 days later. But he's tired, and as James said, as we've all agreed, he's not having a great season. We know he's a better player than this. He played all summer in the Euros. I think he needs a rest.
Your screen keeps throwing me off because I keep thinking that the game's at 2:45 in the afternoon, but it's not. It's at 7:45.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's because we're all This is American time. All right. This is God's.
This is America.
You're in some sort of weird heathen.
American rules.
I don't really. You also use
goddamn right.
You used to use those communist measurements. Like your temperature.
Goddamn America.
Your temperature. You measure everything with a C. That stands for communism. You know what the F stands for? It stands for freedom.
It stands for
I thought you were going to say fascism.
No, it stands for freedom. Fahrenheit.
It stands for fucking stupid.
It is. Well, I'll tell you what. It's chilly outside. It is 51 degrees. Freedom right now. What is that in communist? I don't know.
Celsius.
Like 12? I don't know. I don't care.
7 degrees Celsius, baby.
Nobody cares about communists. I only care about freedom. All right. Anyway. So James hates this so much. He just cannot stand it when we go off on these tangents. All right, so what do you guys do? I mean, assuming Manchester City,
on the weekend, I think my guns out. It's going to be a That's called freedom, baby.
Yeah. Personally, what I think Moyes is going to do is he look. Sorry.
Go.
Sorry.
Yeah. You to get a hint of who City would play, you look at who they had on the bench against Brighton. They had De Bruyne on the bench. They had Mahrez on the bench. Sterling is probably coming back. They will rotate some players, but it's still going to be a very strong side. I think Moyes is going to analyze his chances of victory, and just despite it being a sellout crowd, from what I understand, I think he's thinking to himself, we have 2 other competitions. We have to be strong in, so I think he will rotate. I really hope he rests Souček. I agree with everyone that he needs to be the prime person subbed in, so hopefully it's Rice and Král. Sorry, Tom.
I was going to say, thankfully he won't be playing Mendy because obviously he's the biggest threat.
He's the biggest weapon.
I think we'll see Rice because we almost always do. I don't think we're. I mean, what?
And Rice doesn't look tired at all.
No, that's the thing. I think Rice can handle it. I do not want to see Mark Noble if we're trying to win this game.
I look
Let's be
happy, but I'm
honest.
crying inside. Actually,
You don't really look all that happy.
it's because we brought up Paul Scholes.
Sorry,
I just brought up a rapist. I mean,
it's just a little footnote of the show, really. It's not, it's not part of the main.
Yeah.
I'm just keep you on your toes. That's all.
I think we'll see some wholesale changes. I think we'll see either one or two of the center backs rested. David Moyes could choose to go with the Europa League pairing and Diop and Dawson, or just one of them, and rest another player.
Yeah.
The center back,
I think
or
we'll see
Zuma.
Diop and Dawson.
And I think we'll see Vlasic. I think we'll see
too.
Vlasic in for maybe Bowen or maybe Benrahma. Antonio, I'm not so sure. I'm still saying he keeps him, although I wouldn't be shocked if he uses Bowen as the lone striker.
Me too.
Which I think Bowen is the lone striker as much as I like him. It shows how valuable Antonio can. We just don't stretch the pitch as much. We don't have the hold-up play that we have with Antonio. But I think Moyes is kind of almost expecting this to be a loss. He's just trying to mitigate the amount of the loss and also rest some players.
You think so? It's hard to say. I mean, League Cup is obviously the lowest priority of all the competitions we're in. However, we haven't won a trophy in 41 years, and we are one admittedly difficult win away from a quarterfinal.
But don't.
Yeah, but Carabao Cup makes the Europa League, and we're in the Europa League, and I think we're planning to go far in the Europa League and then finish in the Europa League spots again.
I would rather.
Don't
I would
think
rather
though
see
for
the
1
Europa.
second that people are going to underestimate City. City have won this competition 3 or 4 times in a row. They like winning this competition. It's the earliest taste of success you will get in a season. So he won't mess around. Yeah, he'll put a couple of youth players in, but there will be De Bruyne, there will probably be Mahrez, there will probably be some of those guys in there as well. And those are all singing off of the same pet hymn sheet. Otherwise, he would not play them, as you saw by that youngster that got a goal in midweek against Bruges. So I honestly think that Moyes will go with the same team that he played up at United, potentially with. I think he's going to play Yarmolenko just to give him his minutes. He didn't get his obligatory 2 minutes the other day. I do think he will play Bowen potentially up front. Maybe he looks to rest Antonio again because I
do too.
The more important games are coming up, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think the bench will be strong, but I think he'll go with a very similar team like Kral and Lanzini starting, etc.
I'd love to see Masuaku on the wing.
Do you guys care if we
I don't
win
think
this
we'll
game?
see that, yeah.
Yeah, good God, that will
Do you
destroy
guys
us.
care? Do you guys honestly care if we win this game? How
On
big
the
of a deal
wing?
is it to you?
I think this is like, I love, you might think of this as a weird statement, but I love these games. You have nothing to lose. More likely than not, you're going to lose and you're going to chalk it up to it being City and, we saw this coming, we're supposed to lose. But if you win, then you're on cloud 9.
Yeah, but you've got to
say lock
understand something
too,
here.
I wouldn't
You've got to
say lock
understand
yet.
something. If we win this game, then our season becomes like amazing, and we become we're on cloud 9. I don't want us to go and play against City and get obliterated 3 or 4-0, because then that could be like a downward slope.
Remember Oxford United. Remember Oxford United when Pellegrini was in charge.
Don't remind
We
me.
were cruising. We go to Oxford. He plays a bunch of scrubs, and we lose 4-0. And just the whole thing.
But we're not saying that we've just highlighted that those players coming in aren't a bunch of scrubs, because by all accounts,
No,
for
they're
us,
not, and this is
they're
Moyes without
either-
Pellegrini. This is Moyes
Yeah,
without
okay,
Pellegrini.
all
That's
right.
a big difference.
But we are saying by our standards that 6 of the 7 players that rotate in for that game are good enough, like Kral, like either Johnson or Soufal potentially, or Dawson or Diop, whoever can be good enough.
Yeah, but I wouldn't fancy Dawson. I wouldn't fancy Dawson up against Sterling or Mahrez or someone like that.
But that's the problem, though, is which hole do you look to plug, because they're coming at you from every
Well, I
single
look at it
angle.
like this. If we was playing Saturday at 12 o'clock, I can understand going with the reserves. All right. If we was playing Saturday at 3 o'clock, maybe, or even 5 o'clock, but we're playing Sunday.
But it's Sunday at 5:30.
Yeah, we're 4:30. We're playing Sunday at 4:30.
You must be doing your clocks. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
And what people are not understanding is if we draw this game, we go straight to pens. So if we, I think,
Just go for it.
I think go for it. And if we can get a draw, and I know something, I'd fancy Areola against their goalkeeper all day long. Right.
Hey, watch out now.
Yeah.
I don't mind Steph.
America, baby.
What in a penalty shootout? I fancy
We're pretty good at shootouts, like James.
you
We're pretty good at shootouts.
You must not know.
I was going to say, do you know Americans and shootouts?
Shootouts
Goddamn,
are
boy.
kind of the shootouts are kind of our thing. Yeah, they're kind of our thing.
God damn.
Although we do more of the shooting than taking the shots. To be fair, well, I guess we do both.
Actually, I mean, you do.
We do both. Yeah, we do
You
both.
do a lot
Pickle
of that.
shots, tequila
Here's
shots.
another thing to consider. Who else is left? I mean, it is not. Sorry, Rebecca. It is not necessarily a cakewalk
God damn.
through the rest of the competition if we win this game. Look who's still out there. Likely winners, and I know anything could happen, but we got
Oh,
Chelsea.
Frederick Alves.
Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Give me Preston.
All in the. Can we know Tottenham were an easy win? Okay, but Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, all in the same competition. Even if we get past Man City, even Leicester.
Tough game.
Yeah,
it's very likely that the quarterfinal is another huge game.
I care more about going further in the Europa League right now and how good we
I do
look there.
too.
It's not like I don't want to not win this game, and I hope he doesn't set out to lose this game. But it wouldn't be the end of the world if he did, is what I would say.
It would.
Yeah, I know, but I don't understand that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't understand.
If it was the FA Cup, I would 100% because I appreciate that cup more than any other cup.
But we haven't won a trophy in 41 years. We can't be picky now. We've got to go for it for everything.
I just the games that come between around Christmas and then you're adding in potentially 2 more games because obviously the final's in February. You're potentially adding in another Chelsea and or a Liverpool.
Yeah, but ain't we supposed to be a big club now, though, Tom? This is what big clubs do. They go in competitions to win them.
I'd never said we were a big club.
Well, we've got to start acting like a big club, don't we? Like we're in Europe.
You must have forgotten we're massive, Tom.
But that semi-final.
Yeah, in case you forgot.
Well, don't forget that's another 2 games in there.
Let me throw another thing out there. I forgot. Oh no, I know what it was. James was talking about this earlier. What I don't want to see is a shellacking. I don't want to go out there and lose 4-0, 5-0. Something
which we usually do at home.
Right, which remember we did against Manchester City in the League Cup. I think it was in the semifinal some years ago. When Allardyce was in charge.
Got absolutely destroyed, mate.
We lost something like 9-0 on aggregate. It was insane.
Roger Johnson.
Yes,
running back from Torre.
Relegation Roger.
Roger the Relegator. It was a 2-leg semifinal, and we got absolutely clobbered, and it kind of
Alvaro Negredo destroyed us.
I do not want a performance like this to derail what has so far been a very good and potentially excellent season, and that's why I'm not too crushed in this competition. I don't want to lose like 4-0.
It's the manner in which the game is played. I think that is what will be the issue for us, because if we do take a 5-0 slacking, everybody will be like, well, hang on a minute. I thought that we were set up better than that. But if it's, say, City win 2-1, we give absolutely everything, but they've just got a bit more class on the night, I wouldn't be that arsed. Especially,
I don't think anybody would be. I don't think anybody.
James would be, apparently.
Well, at the end of the day, all of a sudden, though, all of a sudden, now we're being picky about what trophies that we can go for. We're 3 out of 3 in the Europa League.
I'm not looking at the trophies. I'm looking at the games around Christmas.
Who's this?
Oh my God!
John.
Where'd he come from? Juan Antonio, how you doing?
It's 3 Brits versus 3 Americans.
There we go.
Yeah, but we got John's on it.
We got your shanks, we got our guns. Yeehaw.
John's in the backup cradle of American liberty. See, Boston is a true cradle of American liberty, but of course Philadelphia is like the backup. So John's in the backup city. So he's with us, really, right? Right, John? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have to say yes, otherwise it might kick me out.
Have I ever kicked anybody out?
Oh no,
I just
I have a weapon to counteract your guns. Haha.
I'm in the government league.
Well,
Tom, we have an old American adage: you never bring a knife to a gunfight.
That's right. That's right.
Let's ask John. Why John's here? Might as well ask John this. John, in 41
Would
years,
you rather be American or British? Sorry.
Well, we haven't won a trophy in 41 years, and now all of a sudden, we're being picky about our trophies. Do you think that? Would you take a League Cup right now? If someone offered you a League Cup and said this is a trophy for you for the season, would you take it?
First of all, the disrespect to this year's Betway Cup win is astonishing. But yeah, I'll take a League Cup win.
Hey, Wally's right. We're on for the quint, baby. The quint, all 5, and that's the Betway Cup. Nobody else can do that, by the way. We'd be the first club in history. So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, John. Yes. What would you rather have? Would you take a League Cup if it were handed to you?
I'd take whatever we could get, Lee. I'd take absolutely whatever we could get. I can understand. I can understand having a preference, and I can understand that we're in a position that we haven't been in for a long time, where we actually have a team that's pretty good. It feels like, right? And a cup run and a cup victory overall isn't out of grasp for the kind of team that we have. Absolutely, I'd take a League Cup win. It's not the most prestigious of all the cups we'll be in, but I'd take whatever we could get.
So what?
But it's not happening in a vacuum. You can say that about anything. Of course, I take a League Cup win, but we have these other situations to deal with. And what's the probability of our success in a match against Man City and keeping our other two cans going? Would I take sleeping with Kate Beckinsale? Yes, I would, but she's not going to sleep with me. So
is the real question?
Yeah, you can say that with anything. Would you take this?
Right. Well, the real question is, do we prioritize this game, John? The real question is. How? I mean, in all honesty, the real question is how much do we try? I mean, look at what we have coming up. This is never an easy place to go. I know they're not in great form right now. We have another Europa League game away from home in Belgium. It's not too far away. But then you run into Liverpool, like that.
Look at that is literally in the next month and a half. We've got
this is 2 weeks away. This is 2 weeks away. This is
don't forget. Discount the Europa League from all of those. Those fixtures aren't happening. We're running away with that. We can actually, as long as we draw one or two games, there's no way that we're dropping out of first place. So they can put that on the back burner.
That's actually really good to think about it. We've pretty much clinched the first spot, barring a complete collapse. We could start to rotate in the Europa League as well.
I don't understand this. I really don't. Right? People say about the amount of games we're doing. 2 years ago, we was fighting relegation and getting knocked out by Oxford and Wimbledon in the FA Cup and League Cup. And now we're going, I don't know about Man City. We'll give it a miss because it's more games. I don't understand that mentality.
I'm not saying give it a miss. I'm saying as long as we put in a good performance, I'm not bothered if we won or lost, is what I'm trying to say. I don't care.
I know, but at the end of the day, we can't go and listen, we can give the Europa League a go, but we're going to come up against top teams, right? We have not played a top team.
I'm not being picky in the slightest about the teams that we face, because I think we're good enough on paper to match any of them right now. But it's just because of the amount of games that are coming up and knowing if we win or lose, fair enough, we're going to the next round. But I'm saying as long as it's a good enough performance, which I would fully expect, I'm not that bothered if we lost or if we won. If we won, great, fair enough. We'll move on to the next round and we'll keep going. But I don't think it's the end of the world if we were to lose against Man City in maybe a close-fought game is what I'm saying. And that's what I expect. I do not expect a 5-0 shellacking, but it should be a tough game.
Here's my question for James, too. What would be your lineup? How much would you change?
What I was going to say.
Would you not?
Areola
stick with this
in goal straight away. I'll go Areola in goal. I'll go. You're going to have to play Cresswell because he's the only left back at the club.
Yep.
I'd play Diop and Zuma because Zuma hasn't played in the Europa League. I would go Ben Johnson. I'd go Krell, Rice, Vlasic, Fornals. I would go Bowen up front and Ben Rama. And I'd leave Antonio on the bench. And if we need him to come on with 30 minutes to go and the game's still level, then imagine bringing Antonio on with 30 minutes to go. I think we've got to understand something. West Ham, and I agree with what John just said there, he's bang on the money. I've never seen West Ham this good in my lifetime. I've always seen us get knocked out by Wrexham and crap teams. And I want us to go out, and I want, as I keep saying, I want us to win something at this club. And we can say about the Europa League, and we can say about we want us to do well in the Europa League, but the Europa League is not guaranteed. Right? We have not played a decent team in the Europa League yet. Right? We can say about the three teams we've played.
James, let's be honest. Our chances, and believe me, I want us to do it, but our chances of actually winning the Europa League, when Barcelona dropped down, when all these other massive clubs dropped down, they decreased considerably. I mean, I'm with you, Lucas.
We beat Barcelona over 2 legs anyway. It's just me.
I mean, well, I'm running Barcelona. They're not what they used to be. I get it, but I mean, my point is,
we're favourites at the minute to win the whole fucking thing in the Europa League. You know.
I mean, do you think we have a realistic shot at winning it?
I do.
Yes, I do.
I don't at the minute. Not with the teams that are coming down, because teams with one striker don't win the Europa League.
But
It's as simple
but
simple as that.
but the knockout stages happen after January. We've got a window to potentially
That's
get
true.
a backup striker in, and also if we come first, we'll not be playing a Champions League team. We will be playing potentially. We
That's
will be
true
playing
too.
somebody from the Europa League group stage. So it's
That's
not
true too.
not guaranteed that we will be facing a top opponent. And in knockout football, anything can happen. But if we do get a backup striker in January, one good enough to do in Europe as well, I believe we could.
Yeah, I would also say the atmosphere. Let's say we did win that game against another Europa League group stage team, and then Barcelona did drop down. Barcelona at the London Stadium, that atmosphere would be excellent. That would be something we would never have thought we would have seen. I think
That's
that would be
true.
a match to look forward to.
And let's
You've got to look at teams who you've got to look at teams who are already in it.
But if we don't discount as well, that Dynamo Kiev team,
Zagreb,
that's it. That is a team that Spurs and Arsenal both lost to in their own backyard. We brushed them aside with ease, And
I know, but let's be honest here, Tom. You've got to look at Napoli's team. Now, Napoli went to town on Leicester, and they've got a really good striker up front, from ex-Lille striker. And basically, we've got to look at it that we've done well. Yeah, don't forget we've played 2 home games, 1 away game. Like at present, we're going to see what we're really all about when we go away to these places, like Rapid Vienna and Genk.
Well, I think that's a big statement from us to go into Zagreb's backyard and comfortably walk them off the park in our Europa League group stage debut.
But wouldn't you agree, though? Wouldn't you agree that I expected us to beat these I expect us to beat them 3 teams at home and get at least 1 win away from home. Like at least at a very minimum.
I thought we would win at home against all 3 teams, but I genuinely thought going into their backyards that we would struggle because it is a different type of atmosphere that some of our players aren't used to, especially the ones that aren't experienced in international football and have played on the continent before. I just didn't think it would be good, and it will be a good test for us in 2 more hostile atmospheres because we all saw what the Vienna fans were like. If we do that, then the confidence for me is there that we can do it in any competition right now. And I don't. Yes, Napoli, obviously, they look a very good side. They haven't lost yet in Serie A this year. But when it gets to that half of the season, are they going to start focusing more on potentially being in and around the mix for winning the title? There are all the different circumstances that play into it when the knockout stages come round. Will they have injuries? Will we have injuries? You can never really tell. So, for me right now, unless it was, you're playing like a City or a Liverpool, for God, or Man United, say they dropped down into the Europa League and we ended up getting them. Like I would fear in that scenario potentially playing one of them.
I might be mad what I'm about to say, but I think we've got more chance of getting in the top 4 than we have of winning the Europa League, and that is no joke.
We were almost there last season, and we were 2 points away last season.
Yeah, and I just look at the teams that could possibly go into that Europa League. They're going to be stronger than us. They're going to have more options than us. I think we're doing well with who we're up against, but I think we could easily get in the top.
I think we need reinforcement. I think we need reinforcements in January.
James, are you saying teams 5 and down in the Premier League are easier to deal with than any of the competition we'll come up against in the Europa League?
I honestly do, mate. I look at teams like Leeds. They go one way forward, but can't defend. Villa, all the hype about them. They can't win a game at the minute, and we're a good side in the Prem. I will say one thing: we know how to sort of handle the Premier League. When I look at us in the Europa League, we've not played a good team yet. Let's be honest. We've not played a team who you can say, you know what? Wow, they was a decent side. You can say about Zagreb, but they play in a poor league in Croatia. And let's be honest,
they absolutely spanked Spurs and Arsenal the last couple of years.
Yeah, I know, but Spurs are shite, and Arsenal are no better. And
but that Spurs game, but that Spurs game was 2-3 years ago when they had Eriksen, Kane, Son on fire. This wasn't the Spurs team we played yesterday, and also the Arsenal team probably was a little bit better back then as well.
Because we go and beat Zagreb, are you telling me that we're going to? If we played Napoli and we got that striker up against our centre half.
Osmina, is that his name? Osmina?
Yeah. you've got to understand something. Well, we're up against people who are like they've got world-class players in their team.
Depends on
Like, if
who
we're up
we
against
play.
Barcelona or anyone like that, or a Seville, or even a Dortmund, for instance, because Dortmund could go in it, and we're going to be up against Haaland. Do you know what I mean?
He's
You've got
he's
to,
out. Just saying.
like, so you've got to look at it in perspective. We've done
But
well.
Who
and we're
did,
going
who
to
did who did Dortmund go to the other night and they got dominated like 3 or 4-0 in the Champions League?
Ajax.
Anything can happen in European football. That team without Haaland, potentially, if he gets injured, anything can happen.
He is.
So
in.
Don't forget, years ago, Fulham dispatched Juventus in the semi-finals, whatever it was.
Yeah, I
of the
know,
Europa
Tom,
League.
but we're asking for a lot to happen from the last 16 all the way down to the
Anything
final.
can happen.
Well, we are and
Anything
we
can
aren't,
happen.
right? Because I think I'm semi on your point there, James. I can see there's going to be some good competition we're going to have to come up against. But if we go into the round of 16, how many games is that then to the final?
Four.
I mean, that's 4 games. That's a really good chance either way. I mean, I look at it. I agree with you. I want to compete on all fronts. I really do.
Wait, you talking about Europa League?
Yeah, the last 16 got 4 in it. Got 8, 4, and then 2.
When do they? Don't they have? Are they not over 2 legs anymore? Do they just stop that altogether?
It'll be 7 games. It'll be 7 games.
Seven games.
Yeah, because
4 opponents, but 7 games.
7 games, right? Exactly. Because they're all over 2 legs in the knockout stages, right? Isn't that right?
And let's be honest here. As fans, that's 4 good teams that we're going to play. We're not going to be playing no mugs. We're going to play good sides.
Yeah.
So we've got to know our lane, basically.
But
No, I agree, and I don't fear anybody in the Prem at the minute. I don't.
Can I just counter that though, James? You did say that you don't fear Man City and that you would look to want to beat Man City. That is a tougher team than any to play against.
It's a bit different than playing Man City's reserve team in a one-off game.
It won't be Man City's.
It won't be their reserve team.
But tomorrow night?
No, it won't be.
No, they'll have De Bruyne and Mahrez in.
And
but they're also going to have Aki and other players like that.
He cost nearly £40 million. There's not reserve players.
He's no slouch.
We play in the best league in the world. I'm not scared.
Thank you, Agasuma.
I'm not scared of any Serie A or La Liga team. Like Barcelona is shit right now. Real Madrid, if they don't have Benzema, they're shit. I really give me them all. I'm not scared of any of them.
I'll tell you this, Lucas.
Juventus are shit too.
Juventus are having a terrible campaign.
I said on Twitter this week, and I still feel this way. And I'm not saying I'm not predicting or guaranteeing anything. There's nobody in the Prem I fear. All right, not even Manchester City or Chelsea.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying
we'll
beat them. I'm saying I don't have. It used to be we would go into games against 5 or maybe 6 of the top teams, and I would say to myself, let's just hold the goal differential down. You know what I mean? Let's because we'd be in a relegation battle. I'd say, let's just not lose by 3 or 4. Let's try to score 1.
Yeah, but a one-off game, though, Lee.
But now I don't feel that way anymore, James.
Yeah.
I don't fear anybody, and there's nobody I look at in Europa League in the current competition, not counting the ones.
Yeah, but a one-off game against Man City, a 90-minute game.
I don't fear them.
If we draw the game, we play. We have a penalty shootout.
So you're saying there's no extra time. There's no added time.
There's no extra time. It's
straight
to penalty. So basically, you're playing a 90-minute game.
Right.
That to me is not a difference between if you're playing in the Europa League and you've got to travel to Rome or you've got to travel to Spain and you've got to this is the complications of it. But the squad depth is completely different. We have got 1 striker and 1 left back at the club, and that's all we've got. So let me ask you this. I mean, do you take our starting 11? And you already told me who you wanted in the starting 11 for Manchester City. But I mean, is it worth?
No, but the thing is as well.
Is it worth putting out the first team and saying, "Let's go"?
The thing is as well. Don't forget, you did also say, James, that if the teams in Europe, you're almost writing us off against those teams because of how difficult it is to go and play in those teams. But you also said,
you can't expect us to go and win a competition.
No, but you also said that you can't pick and choose. But what you're saying is that you don't care so much for the Europa League because you don't rate us against those teams, but you would rather focus on.
There's
City
better teams than
League
us, Tom. There's better teams than us in the Europa League.
No, but what I'm saying is you're prioritising the league then and the Carabao Cup because you think there are better teams, but you also said you can't pick and choose.
I'd fancy Man City over a 90-minute game and penalty shootout rather than playing 4 games and hoping to win a competition against teams who are established European
But
teams.
it's not just
But
Man
even
City,
if you beat
because
Man
then you've got
City,
to go
you still
through
have to
Chelsea,
play the
Liverpool,
likes of Leicester
Arsenal.
and other teams.
That's what we just looked at. Who else is left in
Chelsea,
Cup?
Arsenal, Liverpool.
Chelsea are left. Arsenal, are left.
Chelsea will play a
Leicester
reserve
are
team.
there. Tottenham are there. I know Tottenham, but still.
But the latter stages of the competition, these teams, they want to win it because they've got enough squad depth that they don't have to play youngsters. They can bring on
Tottenham. They want a
Havertz
trophy.
and
They want a trophy. They're desperate for it. I know we.
I
are
want
too,
a trophy, mate.
we all
I'll
do,
take a League
but
Cup right
they
now.
get more pressure from the press and than we do.
It just
Nobody
seems
expects
like
us
to me, I don't know what it
Nobody
is, but
expects us to win anything.
it just seems like to me that people are thinking like we're favourites. We're favourites because we haven't conceded a goal and we've won 3 out of 3. The difference is
we don't know who else is going to be in the competition either, James. We don't know who's going to drop down.
So basically,
I'm scrolling. I don't know if it's going to work or not because I haven't been working very well tonight. But I'm looking through, who's left in these groups.
All I was saying to you, though, James, is it's not me digging you out or saying it, but from what you said, which was, you can't pick and choose, but then in this country, you would rather focus on getting top 6 in the league or top 4 in the league and beating Man City and winning a cup here.
If we go in the Europa League and we put all our eggs in the basket in Europa League and we get knocked out in the last 8, for instance, and we finish 10th in the league, is that progression for you, Tom? Yes or no?
Yes, I think it is.
Well, I don't know what you're saying.
It's a big drop
because how can it be progression if we finished sixth last year? We finished 10th this year.
I think that point isn't valid because I don't think we finished 10th in the league.
Oh,
if we finished top 6 and we got into Europe again and we went far in all competitions this year, I still see that as progression because we're still going to be seen as a club that players want to come to, especially if we can begin to establish ourselves.
I think James doesn't think that's possible. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Let me just say this about Europa League, all right? As I look through, I mean, here's this groups as they stand now, and obviously this could all change. There's a lot of matches left. But look, I don't like the top of the groups, and that's who we'd be most likely to play in the next round. Lyon, Monaco, Legia, I think Warsaw, right, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, look at that Napoli group. Legia are top of it.
Frankfurt, Galatasaray.
PSV are decent.
I don't know. Napoli group.
Is this a Croatian?
Yeah,
Red Star Belgrade.
Czech Republic.
Oh, that's Red Star. That's
Red Star Belgrade.
Lee, go back up to the Napoli group for me. Because the fact that they've played 3 games means that Legia have already had to play Napoli.
Yes.
So Napoli have lost one against someone. Yes. So they are beatable. It can happen. And it wasn't against Leicester. So that means it's either against Spartak or against Thingy.
It was against Legia. Or Legia, or however.
They lost to
Spartak. They lost to Spartak.
No, they lost to Spartak. Yeah.
They lost
exactly.
To Spartak.
So anything can happen.
7-1 at the weekend, by the way.
Exactly.
But anything can happen in a group stage, right? But when we get down to the last 16 of the competition, you're going to be up against the big boys, and they will not muck about.
As Nippon just said, that Juventus team had Cannavaro, Del Piero, and others in it at the time. That was a very good Juve team.
That was about 15 years ago. Let's get into 2021.
Fair point. But if we win our group, okay, we go. Do we not? We don't play a Champions League drop down. We play one of these other group winners. If I'm not mistaken, in the round of you go right to the round of 16, and you play one. This is why I'm going down this list. You play one of these guys right now, and I know that this table could change. I get that. Lyon, Sparta, Monaco, Real Sociedad, Legia, Napoli is the only one that's marginally scary to me. Frankfurt, Olympiacos, Gala,
but even teams like
maybe Lazio. But these are all. I mean, Braga from Portugal. These are.
But even teams like Olympiacos, Lee, they're no mugs. They're a good side.
Mugs, but they're not mugs, James. But let me just bring up because I understand what you're saying about the League Cup. I get it. But I can't help but think though, when you look at the League Cup and you look having to go through Manchester City and then probably Chelsea, maybe Arsenal, Tottenham, and I know
there's no guarantees. Like everyone keeps telling me,
but look at this.
There's no guarantee.
If we get to the round of 16 here. All we're going to have, and I say all, it's a massive task, don't get me wrong, but you're looking at having to beat somebody like whoever.
But the problem is, you're looking
Batiste. I mean,
you're looking at the wrong table. you're looking at the wrong table there. Now
I
go
know.
to the Champions
first
League.
match they'll play.
But
after
not for the round of 16. If we win our group, we play one of these group winners, and that's my point in the round of 16. Then, if we get through them, we're in the quarterfinals of the Europa.
Right, so we're in the
possibly get a
quarterfinals.
Champions League.
Right, so we're in the
That's
quarterfinals.
gigantic.
I understand that, but then go to the Champions League teams, because the Champions League teams will, and let's be honest, every time a team gets
Always
knocked
one
out,
of them, except for Villarreal.
it's always
Bring
one of
them
them
up,
who
bring
wins
them
it.
No, I get
Right.
it. I get it.
So,
I get it.
right,
Yeah.
we can go through the round of 16. Yeah, it'd be wonderful, right? But if we get knocked,
in a way, though, you know what? It's all a little bit luck of the draw, isn't it? I mean,
of course it is.
Because if we beat Man City and then we draw Chelsea, it's the same. We're going to go out and do the same
Because
thing.
what would
again.
happen, for instance,
You know.
right? If Liverpool go out tomorrow on Wednesday, Arsenal go out, Chelsea go out, and we go through, we become favourites for the Carabao Cup.
That's not going to
Straight
happen.
away.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, admit, but you're telling me it ain't going to happen. When you have if you're saying,
to be
you
fair,
don't
Yeah,
know.
but
So you
there's
don't
a
know what's gonna
golfing
happen.
difference between Preston and Liverpool and Chelsea against whoever they've got.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not being funny. There is cup upsets, Tom. Like things do happen.
But then yours,
There's a
also
reason that if you put £10 on that to happen, you'd win £10 million.
All right.
The actual probability of that happening mathematically is extremely low.
It's true. David's right about that.
But you're also saying, James, that those teams that then when it comes into Europe that we may not beat those teams either. So it's
but come on. Listen, you're talking about teams who are putting out their reserve teams.
Probably not.
Yeah,
the reserves.
you're looking at teams who are going to be putting out their full strength.
Those top
teams.
3 teams have such depth in Chelsea, Liverpool,
not Arsenal,
and Man City that their reserve teams are better than 90% of Premier League teams.
Liverpool got a good team, but they're not going to play Salah, Mane, and Firmino in the Carabao Cup.
They rested him at the weekend.
All right. So,
and Mane.
Firmino didn't play.
Here's Champions League as it stands. Okay. So what is
Right.
it? It's the third place team in each group that drops down, I believe.
So
that is correct.
And the fourth one goes away. So right now, and again, this can all change. Right now, you'd have Brugge,
gave
two sides that don't defend.
I've totally
no,
lost.
but they gave a very good game against PSG.
Brugge or Leipzig. You have this is
Porto's good.
Porto and Milan are just because they're Milan, but look at Milan have lost all 3 games. They don't have anything.
They're not lost in the league though.
I respect Porto.
I would think we'd beat Milan.
You have Sporting and
I respect Sporting.
And by the way, one of these is not going to go through. Remember, Porto and Milan. One of these is not going to make it. Sporting and Besiktas, Inter, who are very good.
Yes,
that's the scary.
No, but Inter are not that good because they fire sold a lot of players and got rid of Conte, so they're not that good this year.
But Shakhtar Donetsk, this is the one that scares everybody. But I actually think
they're so shit.
I think they're kind of beautiful. I agree with you. But they're that good. I mean, Atalanta, young boys.
You don't think we beat Barca over 2 legs?
Lille had a complete fire sale too.
How many of these?
Do you not believe
how many of
we
these
beat
third and
Barca
fourth
over
place
2
clubs?
legs?
How many of these third and fourth place clubs terrify you?
Hang on a second. Can we just go around the room?
Like
who thinks we could
3?
beat Barcelona over 2 legs?
Oh, I do. This season, I do. Yes,
100%.
I do. This season, yeah.
This season, only this season, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
I think they're garbage. I do, Tom.
Listen,
I do.
I don't know enough about European football. I don't watch enough of it to say who's good and who's bad. I've got like half an eye on the German league because I have a couple of German friends that are very passionate. One of them in particular, Eintracht Frankfurt, who are just having a shocking year in the Bundesliga, but looking all right in Europe. If we're good enough to break into the top 4 in England, there shouldn't be a single team.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, John.
Who terrifies you?
2 things that I want to say, and the first is like to James's point. As a supporter, I want to compete in absolutely everything we're involved in. I want to go balls to the wall. I want to try and win absolutely every single thing.
That's what big clubs do.
As somebody who, if I had a stake in the club, if I'm David Moyes or if I'm the owners, what does success look like for West Ham this year? And I think it's getting back into European competition next year. And if that's the bar of success, because now we're going to be relying on the money and, that's the way to keep our better players is qualifying for European competition. And what is the path of least resistance to get back into Europe again? So what does everybody think on that? Like, one word, which competition? Is it the Prem? Is it one of the domestic cups? Is it the Europa? And then maybe one sentence on why.
You know what's funny, John? You know what's funny, John? I'll tell you right now what I would take. I'll tell you right now what I would take over everything. And everybody's going to hate me for this because I've always said over the years, I'd rather have a trophy than anything else. But right now, with Declan Rice at the club, I'd rather have top 4 in Champions League than anything else. I think
bang on.
I would rather have top 4
because that is progression.
That will keep him at West Ham for another season.
That is progression at the club. Yes. That is the reason why we left Upton Park, for progression. Like, I don't understand this mentality. Oh, we get to the last 8, get knocked out, or the last 4, get knocked out, finish 10th in the freaking league.
I don't want to finish 10th in the league. I'm saying in order to finish top 6.
But the problem is, let's be realistic here. We have not got a big enough squad to compete in 4 competitions: Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, Europa League.
So that's what we're talking about.
So we will finish 10th.
Can I bring up a random point?
So let's put Harrison Ashby out on Wednesday. And
we don't. I actually like the lineup that James put out. For the I think that's January. The resting players are not putting out a weak side.
The FA Cup comes after January or in January. The league rundown is after January, and the knockout stages of Europe is in February. So we have that January window to reinvest some money into progressing further.
Tom, would you put your money on it that our board will buy the players required or loan the players required for David Moyes to succeed?
I think they will.
In his role?
I think the only reason I think they will is because under the last few managers, they didn't see that progression. In the first season, they put money into them like they did with Bilic. They put a lot of money into Pellegrini in his first season, but they didn't do that with Moyes. They did not back him in that first season, but I think that they are more inclined to give
look who shows up. Look who shows up. Mr. Absentee Landlord shows up to criticize us for yelling at each other. Come on, Tim. Come on. You know how to get in here. Get in here.
I would 100% back them to at least give him, because I do believe that they'll try and go after Lingard again. And I do believe that if he earmarked 1 or 2 signings, I think they would do it for him on the basis that I think that they trust him this time.
But didn't they have that trust last season, though, Tom?
No,
they was fourth in the league last season. We need a striker. We need a left back. We go out and get Lingard, and that is it.
No, that's fair enough. But again, when they needed to back him the year that we stayed up, and at the start of that season, I thought, right, that was your time because he's proved it twice now that he kept us up. You back him then, but they didn't. And they still held on to a lot of that money. Fair enough, they did invest it in Zuma and Vlasic this year and a couple of other here or there. But I still think that there will be a couple of deals that they can hopefully get done. Now, don't forget as well, we've got the Man City recruitment guy that is on gardening leave until January. They will get, hopefully, a couple of players to bolster that squad because I think they're mugs. But
I don't understand that comment from Gary there, right? Because the way I look at it is, right, Arsenal, poor, Tottenham, shite, Leicester, inconsistent. That's 3 teams that are competing on European front. Manchester United falling apart with Ollie. And people are telling me that we can't get Champions League. We can get Champions League because we know and we're well schooled in the Premier League how to win games ugly at present. Yeah. But when you're playing against proper European teams with proper players who know what they're doing and they've got that dark arts of European football, we haven't. We've not played one decent team in the Europa League yet. Let's get real now, right? We've nicked games 2-0, 2-0 and 3-0, right?
That's not nicked.
It is really, Tom, because them teams, right? If we was a phenomenal side, we would have blasted them teams out 4s and 5s. So that's not what you were sitting there.
Have to be though.
You were sitting there saying that we're going to win 5-0, 4-0, and I said to you, we win 2-0, do a professional performance because that is what West Ham do. Because West Ham haven't got the firepower to go and blast teams out the ground.
But
I think we're honestly set up better for European football than we are Premier League football, in my opinion. I really think that way. I think we have an easier road to the Champions League to win the Europa than it would be from the Premier League, to be honest. Because I'll take 7 matches over winning 20, which is probably what we got to do, right? We got to win like another 15 to 20 games in the Premier League to get into the Champions League.
We should be unbeaten in the Premier League at present. We was 1 penalty kick away with Manchester United, and let's be honest, Brentford, if we hold on for 30 seconds, we're unbeaten. we're a good Premier League side, right? We get the job done.
But
Yeah.
we're a good
In the
European side on that front because we've not lost in Europe. We've not lost in the
Yeah,
Carabao.
we've not lost in Europe, but we're going to be up against teams who know what they're doing.
And that's what
Right.
we've got tomorrow night.
But
in City. That's what
not
we've got in
who
a
are as
couple of
good
weeks
as
against Liverpool.
Man City, Liverpool, or Chelsea.
Exactly.
We have
Yeah,
yet to play those teams, and we have to play them 6 times.
Both ways.
Yeah, but we're not
Because-
competing against Man City. Come on, we're not competing against Man
No, we
City,
have to
Chelsea,
get a
or
minimal
Liverpool.
amount of points
Yeah, but
off
we have
them.
to, because
to
they're
We're
ensure
competing
we get
against
top four.
Arsenal, Tottenham, Leicester. So come on, like
Yeah,
Manchester
but there's
City.
not just
but I
that.
mean,
It's Brighton.
yeah,
There's a few others this year that look very bright and look very, very good. That is going to be one of the hardest places to go to this year because apparently they've found out how to score goals.
who's that?
Who's that?
Brighton.
Well, Brighton. We played last game.
Brighton
of
is
the
our
season,
bogey
Tom.
team.
No, but
We
we play
already
Brighton
got-
in a couple of weeks.
We already got popped by Brentford at home. I mean, there is an argument, and I will listen to the argument that, and I think John is basically what John was saying. And tell me if I'm wrong, John, but there is an argument that the easiest path to a trophy is actually Europa League. I mean, because even if as we looked at those Champions League clubs that are in danger of dropping. How many absolutely terrify you? Barcelona, maybe Milan, maybe Inter. I mean, the rest of them, Bruca and who else is? I'd have to bring it back up. I closed the
Red
Can I
Star
ask-
Belgrade.
I've got to ask
No, I'm
something
talking
here.
about the Champions League.
I've got to
I'm
ask
talking
something
about the
here.
Champions
If
League.
Oh, no,
we
sorry.
wasn't
Yeah,
playing,
Yeah.
if we wasn't playing Man City tomorrow, Wednesday, would people have the same attitude? If we were playing Preston North End at home, I don't think people would have the same attitude
Of course
as
not,
what they got
because
right now.
Preston North End is a game that we should expect to beat them, especially at this
That's
stage.
right.
So can
But
I
we-
just say as well that novelist does make a point because you, like by your own admission, James, like you said there, you expect us to get top four, but if we are competing in all these different competitions, we're going to have to rotate when it comes to the Premier League as well. So
Yeah.
it's
Tom,
not a foregone
Tom,
conclusion that we
Listen,
will compete.
right? People
in
can
all
say
those.
about the top four, yeah, but in the Premier League, we are a well-oiled machine up against teams,
But
and we know
if
what
we
we're
get an
doing.
injury though, like you
But
said, then
but
all of
I-
a sudden it
I-
derails us.
But
I would like, as I said, I'd like top four over anything else. But I go back to, I'm sorry, I keep going back to this list because I keep thinking, remember, the bottom two are the ones we're looking at right now. One
Right,
of them
well,
doesn't
let's
make
go
it.
through it. Let's go through it
Well,
right
no,
now.
let's go- okay, PSG and Man City are going through, all right? Brugge and Leipzig.
Club Brugge are a good side in the Belgium league.
They're all good sides.
the Belgian league is poor quality.
But
Well,
the
they-
thing
they
is-
held
My
Man
issue
City at
too
home.
is
It can't be that poor quality
I
if
know,
they're
but
pushing
okay,
PSG all the way.
wait, back
yeah,
up.
but
in a game.
you're writing off
Over the
Leicester
line.
because they're familiar.
I'm not talking about good
Like
sides.
Leicester would
I-
kiss the Belgian league.
I'm not talking
We're,
about good
we're
sides.
writing
I'm
off
talking
those
about
teams around us just because
I'm
they're
talking about
familiar.
clubs. Right. Sorry. John.
Sorry,
I'm
you
talking about
go.
clubs that terrify you. Okay. Not ones you think could be good. Not ones I'm talking about clubs that you look at and you think we cannot win over two legs. How many of those are there? I don't see one. I don't see any in this group.
Leipzig is underrated. I would say 45% chance we'd beat them in a two-leg
Okay,
loss.
but I'm talking about.
But they don't terrify me.
I'm talking about. Do you say 10% chance or 0% chance? I don't see that with Porto. Maybe Milan, based on their name. I don't know much about them this season.
They're undefeated
Milan
in
doesn't
Serie
scare
A.
me. I know a lot about Serie A. They don't scare me.
They're undefeated in Serie A and they're top.
Besiktas, Inter, David, you said they had a fire sale. The only ones on the list are Barcelona, mainly based on their reputation and because they have a lot of experience in European football.
Oh, Atalanta's strong.
I've watched their
Atlanta's-
last few
Atlanta's a
games.
good team.
Barcelona
I
are
agree.
absolute
But I
dog
mean,
shit.
how many
Yeah,
on
they're
this?
good.
How many on this list just terrify you? One, two,
Real quick,
one or two, right?
real quick. As an addicted sports gambler, I literally gamble on soccer every day of my life. I watch so much European soccer, and as a humbled West Ham fan that has known misery for as long as I've watched, like if I'm saying like Germany, no club besides Bayern, Borussia don't have Holland until literally next season, but like if we're competing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Like we are a top 6 side right now, and
Yeah.
if we think we can push top 4, I don't understand what the pessimism is with Europa League. I really don't, because a lot of these clubs are so.
Because what it is, Lucas, and I'll say this: people are thinking that we've already won the bloody thing.
No,
And we haven't.
No.
I don't
And that's
think
the
so.
attitude
To
that
be
I'm
honest,
seeing,
I don't think
that I'm hearing.
No,
across the
I
table
still think
here.
there's only a 12% chance we win it. You know?
No. It's a
that.
very small
But I'm
chance.
just
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
agree
We've
with you.
got
Yeah.
right. We've got to play decent sides who are no
Yes,
mugs.
course we
They've
do.
got proven
And we've got to
experience in the Europa
travel.
The
League.
way
have
that
to go to
you're saying
countries
it
we're
is
not
that
going to.
no, but the way you're saying it, you're saying the same thing about the Carabao Cup. It's the
What
same
do you mean?
thing.
No, the
because-
Carabao Cup's a one-off game, Tom. Come on. Like, let's not talk rubbish.
But
there.
going back to
It's
Carabao
not
Cup,
rubbish.
I want to bring
It's
up
a one-off game.
Not in
It's
the
a
semis,
one-off
it's not.
game.
It's a
Not in the
one-off
semis,
game
it's
against
not.
Manchester City. Maybe
It's a one-off
Chelsea,
game, Tom.
maybe Arsenal, maybe
Not
Tottenham.
in the semi-finals, it's not.
What?
But
So you tell
I
me
would
what?
just-
What? One semi-final, Tom?
Well, again,
All right.
it's not that.
Tom,
It's one-off
Tom,
games.
listen,
Can
Right,
I throw a
wait,
curveball
wait,
in here and bring in a
David.
new idea?
41
David, go ahead.
years.
Hang on.
41 years.
So
I've
I
not
would
seen
actually
West Ham win a
argue-
trophy.
Go ahead.
I would
David.
argue
I don't
that
want to
you're-
live on hopes and prayers, mate.
But
I
it's
want us to
one-off
win
games
something
against
before
City,
I go.
Chelsea, and Liverpool. It's
All right,
one-off
Tom,
games
Tom,
against
Tom,
those
Tom,
teams.
Tom.
Yeah, I'm bringing in a
Okay.
new point. So I want
Let David
can I say
say
something?
this, okay? Please.
Man.
I would actually, we haven't won a trophy in 41 years, but I would argue that the Carabao Cup is not really regarded, even though it is an official trophy, the same as the FA Cup or the other trophies. And to prove that point, Hull City have won it, and Wigan have won it. And I think when they won it, I don't think their fans were that ecstatic.
Right, 2 years ago.
I don't think Wigan or Hull
2
City
years
fans
ago-
were. We
Trophy
won
is a
the
trophy.
EFL Cup.
A
the
trophy's a
Carabao Cup.
trophy at the end of the day. I'm
We
sorry.
We're relishing this, you know. That
2
didn't
years
happen.
ago, we're fighting relegation, right? We went through
throwing up the
lockdown,
top
and
bus
we're
parade, though, David. You know what?
right. We was fighting relegation, and basically, Yarmolenko scores a goal against Chelsea to actually help us stay in the bloody league. Mate, I'm not being rude or nothing, but it is a trophy. I've not seen us win anything. I've seen us get relegated twice, get promoted twice, and that's all I've ever seen. The only thing I've ever seen West Ham lift is a playoff final trophy. Now, I want to win something, and I don't want to be going, oh, we finished 8th in the Europa League, and then we finished 10th in the Premier League. How the hell is that progression? That is.
But I don't think that's actually going to happen.
Nobody's saying
I don't think we're going to win the
thing is-
Carabao Cup. I'm just talking about
right. You're saying then we're going to go out with our full
think we
strength
can do
team in
both.
Europa. We can't.
No, I
do
think
both
we're going to choose
with
the
squad
lineup
we've
that you
got.
said. But I think that's a weakened lineup and it's rotation. That's what we should do. And I'm saying I'm not hoping we lose against Man City, but more likely than not, we will.
Well, mate, 65,000 fans think different. It's a full house. It's sold out.
But James,
And-
he's
But that's because it's
Yeah,
a
I'm
big opponent. Of
expecting
course,
us to
he's
perform.
allowed to sell out if it was Liverpool or any other big opponent.
he likes your starting 11, James. He likes David.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, but
And I think it's
what I can't
appropriate.
understand is for all of a sudden, it just, I don't know about anyone else, but all of a sudden we're becoming picky now what competitions we should go for.
Nobody's
Right.
saying that.
West Ham have always never been picky. Right?
Nobody's saying that.
If you would have
Literally,
asked us a
I don't
year
think
ago,
anybody's
saying it.
hold on. If you'd have asked us a year ago, every person on this panel would have said, "Give me a League Cup right now."
I would still take a League Cup, of course.
Well,
I would.
Nobody's
Exactly.
being picky.
No, but
Nobody's
we're-
being picky.
I think everybody has a different opinion on what the easiest route to success is.
I think that's what it is, John. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not
I'm not
pickiness,
saying
though.
don't. I would love to win any trophy we can win other than the Betway Cup. The issue to me is, in all honesty, at this point, you have to look at what you want to prioritize. You have to look at which path is actually the best path to a trophy. It's highly unlikely we're in the Premier League, although I think finishing top 4 would be massive. We're not winning the league, let's be honest. FA Cup, we don't know anything yet, and it's always a tough competition.
All right.
League Cup looks like the easiest path, but again, when you look at Europa League, I mean,
mathematically speaking,
and again, there's a small percentage chance that we win it. All right, but it's the same with the League Cup
Okay.
right now. Because
can I-
if it was Huddersfield and Southend and Dagenham and Redbridge in the League Cup, that'd be different.
Whoa, Lee. Careful, Lee. Careful. Can I ask a serious question, though, right?
No.
I want to hear what everybody's answer on this is. If we went far, say we got to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, say, okay, we lose tomorrow, but we get round of 16 in the Carabao Cup. We finish in the top 6, which I fully expect us to do. And we also go maybe into the quarterfinals or something of the FA Cup. For me, that is progression because not only have we then re-qualified for Europe by finishing top 6, but we've also gone further in competitions that we have not done in previous years. I know you're saying, what if we finish 10th? But I genuinely don't believe that will happen based on how we are schooled, if you will, how you've said in the Premier League. I think that's progression because last year we weren't even in Europe. But if we do get top 6 and we get back into Europe and all of a sudden we can strengthen on that squad and we get a bit of investment again, then you progress more. Still see that as progression, even if we didn't win a competition this year, but we still went further in competitions that in the previous years we've been knocked out by Oxford, etc. But it's still progression to me because we are getting that much better and we do start to fancy ourselves against these better sides and European teams.
The reason why I say that is because when you comes to the Europa League, we're going to start playing our full strength squad in Europa League. Now, there's a team on that list that no one's mentioned. Is Zenit St. Petersburg. Now, if we've got to go to Russia, for instance, and we've got to go and play them away, then we've got to come back and we've got to play a Premier League.
Drinking them dry.
Our Premier League.
Quickly,
Our Premier
Leicester
League
did that
form
this week. Leicester did that this week. Pats and Backer got 4. They beat Moscow, and then they went to Brentford, which is not a tough or easy place to go, and they beat them 2-1 this weekend. So it's possible.
Right. But I'm not talking about Leicester, those, Tom.
No, but you just said about going to Russia.
I'm talking about West Ham has got one striker. But Leicester have got 3.
Different than Leicester.
I do see
I'm not
where
being funny.
James
Tom was
is
bringing
coming
up
from. I
Leicester. Leicester have got three or four strikers. We've got 1.
No, but
I
I'm
do
saying
say
it's
no more.
possible because Leicester did it. It is though because you're saying no, but you're saying.
How
that
can
we
you
couldn't
say
go
that
to-
when they've got 4 bloody strikers and we've got 1, Tom?
No, but
One.
what you've said is it will be difficult to go to Russia and then back to the Premier League. But Leicester just proved that you can do it.
Yeah, but Leicester have got 4 strikers, Tom.
And Antonio could be fit for both games and he plays both games and we could win both games. It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, but you live on hopes and prayers, Tom. I'm not being
I
funny.
I don't.
Do you know what I mean? You
I
do,
don't.
mate. You do.
Oh, here's
It's
the
a
thing.
factual.
But wait. Let me just ask. But I don't. But this argument is kind of funny to me because, Tom, James gave us his starting 11 for Manchester City. All right, if you can remember that far back, do you disagree with what he said? Because the whole point is, do we prioritize a particular competition over another one, and how? So James has who'd you have in? James, you had I think Zuma and Diop.
Yes, Kieran. Yes, they do.
Do you have
Johnson, Cresswell, Krall.
right?
Disagree,
Right.
Kieran.
Okay,
Kieran,
so-
I disagree quickly on that comment. Man City have got world-class players. They've got 50 million pound plus players, and we've got 1 striker. Next,
I mean,
but those £50 million plus players are going to be the rotation players that come in tomorrow that could be.
I've got to say, there's a difference between us and Man City on this score, and I'm sorry.
There we
yeah,
go.
of course there is. But I think people play FIFA and think that they're like the next big thing or Football Manager. These are getting the real well.
Listen, Kieran's on here a lot. I think he knows his football. I just don't have to agree with that one comment. All right,
Real, mate.
That's all. But Tom, okay. So we talked about the starting 11, James, in which David likes it. I like it. Do you have a fundamental problem with it, or is it?
I mean, to be honest, mate, I play a lot of FIFA, so I don't really know about our rotation players that much. But what I would say is that I would.
No wonder. No, why you talk a lot of bollocks.
You're going to go to American Hammer's TV jail in the basement, Tom.
Listen, I would have Areola, fantastic keeper on FIFA, by the way.
Yes.
I would have Areola. I would have Johnson. I would have Diop, Zuma, Cresswell.
Yeah.
I would have Rice and Crowell because I would rest Thingy.
Yeah.
And then I would have Bowen up front. I would have
Well done, Mark R. Mark R speaks sense.
Either Benrahma or Vlasic on the left.
I would have Vlasic.
Benrahma.
Yeah.
I would have Vlasic, and then I would have Yarmolenko on the right as well.
That's basically the team that James put out. So I mean,
Yeah,
my point
But
is,
I think that's
he knows I talk
weekend
sense.
side.
He knows I talk sense. So like, I don't know why Tom started blagging it.
All the things we're talking about, whether a competition is easier or harder to win, we're all putting out the same starting 11 on Wednesday, basically.
Because it's the only start 11 we got, Lee. Let's be honest.
No, I agree with you. Well, I mean, right, other than the one we usually start in the Premier League, and we want to rest Antonio, we want to rest Souček. We want to rest some of our players who look as though they need it. I guess what I'm saying is like we're not even having to prioritize because we can't.
Exactly that.
So I mean, my point at the very beginning was, do you go for it against Manchester City on Wednesday by saying we're putting out that Premier League first 11 that we think has the best chance to win, And let's face it, they'd have trouble beating Manchester City anyway. Or do we do what you talked about, which is go with I'd say weakened, but it's not severely weakened, a changed team. Like you're not putting Antonio out there, you're not having Rice and Souček out there together. I think you do. And I think that's what we have to go with. And I don't know what we're going to go with. I have no idea.
Funny enough here. Hold on, Lee. Novelist. I'm not being funny. 33.5 million, bruv. He hasn't played 1 minute of Premier League football in the last 3 games. Say no more. Say no more. See, there's people like that. There's people like that who talk a lot, right? But where's Vlasic then? Someone answer me that. We're paying 33.5 million for a player who's not getting on the pitch.
He played 75 to 80 minutes the other day.
Do keep in mind that
Ben Johnson played 3 games in a week, Tom.
That's Moyes.
What else are you going to say?
But he needed to, though, because
he's played 3 games in a week, Tom.
John, wait, John, say it.
Tuchel's injured.
You say it.
Yeah, Fredericks is fit.
Let
Next.
John say it.
Johnson is the next player up on the team sheet.
Tom,
Yeah.
take it easy. John, what were you saying?
Take it easy. I didn't do anything.
But what it is, Tom thinks he's got all the answers. He hasn't got the answers.
Something in that Midlands water.
Neither do you. So there you go.
I know the fucking answers because at the end of the day, right, Ben Johnson played 3 games in a week and Vlasic can't get on the pitch in 3 games.
But wait, John, Nolan.
And also, David Moyes is the football manager, and me and you are not. So I would trust him over us.
Tom, I'll get my finger on the mute button, buddy. All right, John, go ahead.
I just said that's David Moyes. David Moyes did the same with Ben Rama. He did the same with Johnson last season. Did
What
the
I
same
said
with
earlier.
He's letting him bed in.
Thank
He's
you.
letting him get used to it. He'll come good. It'll be a bit of time, but that seems to be the style.
Yeah, but we don't have time though, John, do we? Let's be honest here. I keep hearing this word time.
We've come back to this over and over.
Yeah, but
are West Ham in a position to go and pay £33.5 million out for a prospect?
how much did we pay for Ben Rama?
We paid 25 million and he had been scored in the championship for 18 months. Do you know what I mean? There was no pressure on Ben Rama because he had Haller and Antonio.
It's a big signing.
And now there's not a lot of pressure on Vlasic either. Now that
Of course there is. Yeah, of course there's pressure on Vlasic because if one of our front 4 get injured or go down with COVID, Vlasic has to play. I don't think no one realises that.
Yeah, I do, and I trust it.
Well, fucking thank fuck for that.
But then he get the experience you wanted him to have.
Fucking hell. He played his debut, right? And he done nothing. He hasn't played in 3 Premier League games. He's played 80 minutes against Genk, and everyone's raving about it. Like he's played a masterclass.
But listen, you were doing the same thing for Ben Rama last year.
Ben Rama is a very schooled player, which proved you wrong last year amongst everyone else.
Me wrong. I always said he was going to be. He didn't prove me wrong. I thought he was class. I never said a bad word about him. I didn't. I never said.
Be honest, Tom.
I
never said a bad word.
Yeah, you're not. You're telling Porky Pies.
No,
you know
I never said a bad word about him. I never do.
Ronald Reagan moment. Okay, I'm having a Ronald Reagan moment. I don't remember. I got to work on my Reagan. Okay.
Wait, so I do remember exactly what I said about Ben Rama.
What did you say, David, about Ben Rama? What did you say?
I said that so far in the beginning of the last campaign, he looked like he did too many fancy moves in the opposition area that gave away the ball. He didn't track back as much. But I said, I remember saying this, David Moyes has a way of changing players and molding them into his image, and that he had done it with Antonio. He had turned him into a striker from a winger. He had done it with, why am I forgetting his name? Guy who went to Bologna.
Arnautovic?
Yeah, he did it with Arnautovic. I said this exact same thing on a previous show. And that give it time. It's not definitely going to happen, but I have the feeling he could change Ben Rama, and that's exactly what happened. Ben Rama tracks back now. He's tracked back numerous times in all the games he's started. He doesn't do those fancy flare moves when it's not necessarily only outside the penalty box. Not in the opposition half, and he looks way bulkier too. I don't know if you've noticed. He's been working out more in hopes of being more physical. The jury was going to be out, but that he might change him, and he did end up changing him.
Ben Rama cost us what did it ultimately cost us? What, 25 million? I think
it was a loan review to a permanent on a £24 million deal.
Right. But Fornals cost us somewhere in that neighborhood as well. I think 24 million simple. So the Vlasic fee is higher, but it's not astronomically higher. Let me just say this: if Vlasic can pursue the same trajectory as Fornals and Benrahma, we've made a very good purchase, in my opinion. The caveat is, as James and I have always agreed on this, that we don't know when he'll be forced into the starting 11 just like that. That's the problem. If he has time, give him
Common
time.
sense has prevailed.
He may not have time. That's the issue. He may not have time. But what I mean, look, what do we do? We're not going to sell him. I mean, right?
So we're all saying that Vlasic is striker 2 if Antonio goes down, not Bowen, not Yarmolenko.
I don't know about that. I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, they are though. They are striker option number 2.
But that's the problem is Vlasic plays well in the role that Benrahma plays in right now.
Exactly.
He doesn't play as good on the wing.
I wouldn't say Vlasic would be my first choice for a backup striker. I would put
that's
Bowen.
Yeah, I would have him be playing behind.
So Bowen goes up front. Who goes on the wing for who replaces Bowen's position?
Benrahma.
Oh, you
Benrahma. Yeah, you could do a Vlasic, Benrahma, Fornals, Bowen for. But then Benrahma would be on the
That's
wing.
the most sense James has made all night, and we can't hear him. Not a word. Lee's also shat himself as well.
Oh, here we go.
My internet is not at its strongest at the moment here. There he is. He's back. All right.
You went as well, you idiot.
Huh?
You went as well.
Did I?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I had no way to know. I'm sorry. I had no idea.
Okay. Tom's just bitter because he was wrong about Benrahma, Tom. And tell the truth, boy. Tell the truth.
Oh, now let's not listen.
I never
wait a minute.
was. I never said a bad word about him.
Into things we've said in the past. All right. I'll tell you what. We got to wrap up. We got to wrap up here pretty soon. Okay. I don't know when we're doing our next show. It won't be before the next 2 games. So at Villa,
you should just change this show to the weekly debate. That's all you should do.
Well,
it's not even a fucking normal show anymore.
That's really what it is. It's what it's always been. Listen, it's just banter. Listen, I love doing this because I don't get to talk to West Ham fans every day. All right.
Call of my opinion, bollocks would not be classed as banter, though, Lee. That would be classed as a personal attack. On my opinion, everybody's allowed to have.
Well, wait a minute. He didn't. No, he said it's an attack on your opinion. That's not you. That's just what you think. It's a little bit different. All right. You know what? I don't really care. You guys live close enough to each other. James, you go up to the Midlands and you guys can meet in the parking lot later on. Okay. But what I'm saying is, let's talk it. So I know we haven't talked about Villa at all. It seems like it's ages away. So let's not even worry about that. I don't know that we're going to cover it tonight. Why don't we get some predictions on what's going to happen on Wednesday? Some score predictions.
I played the game on FIFA last night and we lost 5-1.
Look at James's face. Oh, he is not entertained in the least. Oh,
tell you what, he should be out. He should be out on the piss. He's
Dude, that went like a lead balloon. Although I laughed at it, I thought it was funny.
All
right.
I can't get pissed.
Lucas, who's the chillest guy on the screen, in his John Lennon glasses. Lucas, what do you think happens on Wednesday?
We're gonna shithouse a 3-3 draw, and we're gonna win in pens.
Oh, I love it. Oh man, shoot that straight into my veins. All right. What do you think, David?
Love that.
Don't do drugs, kids. But I'd shoot that straight.
I don't know how to shoot something into my veins, so I'm mimicking something. I don't know how to do it. Anyway, what do you think, David?
I think a 3-1 victory to Man City. I think we'll keep our shape. I think we'll be compact. I think we'll put in a lot of effort. I think the atmosphere will be good. It will be a close affair, but Man City's quality will just shine through in the odd moments, and it will be a 3-1 Man City victory.
But it doesn't wreck the rest of our season.
No.
Okay. Because that's part of the deal. Okay. All right. We're going to save the best for last. So, the most vociferous for last. So, Juan Antonio, what do you think is going to happen?
Don't like it, Lee. I don't like it at all. Too many changes for us, unpredictable changes for them. I'm going to try and stay positive. 0-0 when we take it on pens.
Yeah, it's hard to know without knowing what they're going to do. I understand that, and we don't know who's going to line up where. These League Cup games, it's a guessing game more than usual. All right, James, what do you think?
I believe in this team, and I believe we can go out there and beat them. Like at the end of the day, why are we shit scared of a team who's lost already to Spurs? The Spurs are shit. Let's be honest, they lost at the beginning part of the season. So I'm not scared of this team. I think we can get a draw against them. If not, nick a win. We're good at nicking wins recently, and we will go through to the next round of the competition. No FIFA talk.
Okay, good. All right, Tom, what do you think?
Purely off a FIFA basis, I've got to stick with 5-1. I have to. I would have to. I just think
you guys are going to have a virtual hug after this. Okay, we're all going to get together.
Listen, me and James always disagree on opinions.
Join hands. Come on, Lucas. Come on, David.
No, that doesn't have to be because it's fine. No, it's fine. James and I will always disagree on opinions, and we will agree very rarely on stuff. But that's fine. That's what football's all about. Is a game of opinions, you know. So
yes,
I at the end of the day, I think exactly what David said. I just think their class will show in the end. I think we'll keep it tight for a little bit. I think it may be 1-1 at half time. But I just think in the end, with the people that they can bring off the bench to change a game compared to what we have, depending on what team we go with, I just think it'll be too much. I think it'll be 4-1 City at the end of the game. And that's just my opinion on it, because I just, at the end, I think it's not a question of being scared of them. I just think they have more than one way to cut us open with the creative players that they have. So I just think City for me all day. I'd say 4-1.
All right. I'll tell you that I never pick West Ham to win because I figure it's a jinx. But this game, it's a one-off. Who cares? I say here's what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen? It's going to be 1-1, and we're going to lose on penalties. That's what's going to happen. I think. I'm going to tell you something right now, though. This team, I know we haven't played everybody in the league. I know we're just getting started with the season. You know, we have 2 losses, both of them basically in injury time. One of them wouldn't have been a loss if Mark Noble had hit a penalty. All right. We really had the Brentford game was a poor performance, a little bit of an error by Fabianski, who was great yesterday. I mean, it is very conceivable right now that we could have 0 losses on the season. I don't fear Manchester City. All right,
but we've not played a top.
I know we haven't.
Yet.
I know we haven't. I get that. No, Tom, you're totally right. That's why I said there's a lot of season to go. Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, they're all out there. All right, and who knows what's going to happen against them? I don't know.
But ain't Tottenham a top side? Really?
Well, no. I don't know about that anymore.
No.
Ain't Leicester a top side?
But
nobody said that. There's a difference between top sides and the top sides. There is.
Ain't Man United a top side?
No, there's City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. There's City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, and
they are on paper, but not with the manager they have.
But what I'm saying is, it's been a very positive start to the season. I don't fear them. I do think we can be competitive in this game. I really do. I don't think we're going to get shellacked in this game, to be honest. I think winning is a big ask, but I think it'll be competitive, and I think it's very possible that it goes to penalties. I really do. I just don't trust us if it does, because we're pretty bad at penalties, to be honest. Anyway,
give it to me. I'm a master at penalties on FIFA. Said nobody ever. I always miss.
I can't. I'm terrible at FIFA. I'm so
hey,
bad
if you watch my videos,
all right. I'll tell you what. Just for fun, John's he's gone. He's left us looking at what looks like a nice sort of china cabinet there. Let's do the Villa game too, just because. All right, it's away to Villa on Sunday. Taking your Manchester City prediction into account, and I know we haven't talked about Villa at all, but what do you think happens against Villa on Sunday, assuming we put out our pretty much standard starting 11? That like we did, like for instance, the same that started yesterday.
2-1 against Villa, just simply because from what I've seen, a few highlights, and I watched 1 or 2 of their games at the start of the season. For me, there's almost too many changes in that Villa team at the moment that they're just not clicking off the same hymn sheet. Obviously, they had a lot of money to spend, but sometimes, obviously, when you bring in a lot of players in one window, they don't necessarily all gel together. And I think whereas before, they bought shrewdly, but whereas this time they've had a bit more money and they've gone, right, I want you. It doesn't take away the fact, I think, on their day, obviously Danny Ings is class, would have loved him at West Ham. I think Buendia on his day is class, but so far it's just not happened for them. And I think it's the perfect time to play them because they are in a bit of a lull at the moment. They're not getting results. They lost a 3-0 lead or 2-0 lead or whatever it was to Wolves the other week. They lost again at the weekend. So I think it's the best time, I think, that we could play a team like this. I was worried about them at the start of the season, especially when they got their first couple of results, but all of a sudden the wheels are starting to fall off, and I don't necessarily think that Dean Smith is as good a manager maybe to manage those players. So I think we'll win either 2-1 or 2-0 potentially against Villa. I think they're a threat, but I don't think they're as good as what people may think that they are, especially with the signings that they've made.
A positive start to the season for them in a lot of ways. They beat Everton. They beat Manchester United at Old Trafford. They drew with Chelsea. That was League Cup. Sorry, forgive me. But they did draw. They lost the match on penalties. But last 3 games, Tottenham, Wolves, Arsenal, all losses, and they have conceded, it looks like 8 goals in the last 3.
Which you wouldn't have expected because there's a high hopes for Twanzebe, and the fact that Mings is somehow an international player, I'll never know. But it's not the greatest defence, and I think Antonio will bully them in reality. And I think that whereas, yes, Target's not bad going forward, I think he's crap defensively. So I think it will be a chance for potentially Bowen and Benrahma to have a field day against them. So I don't fear Villa at all.
Their form is not great. Yeah, it's not great. All right, James, what do you think about Villa? Villa, as we'd say here in Boston. Villa can't keep playing as bad as they're playing, mate. And I think it's a tough game. I think we're going there. We haven't played well in the last 2 games, and we've got the result. Let's be honest here. We've nicked the results against Spurs and Everton, but we're going to a team who are not in good form. I feel that it's going to be tough. First goal, yet again, will decide it, I think. And I'm going to say we might just nick it 1-0 again, but just. Yeah. All right. I would take that though. Yeah. Yeah. John, what do you think?
A point's not bad, but if we want to be pushing for European places, and these are the teams that we have to beat, I think Moyes will let the team know that.
Yeah.
That's something that professionalism of this team, that's something they understand. I think they go into games like this knowing that if we beat the teams around us and below us, we have a very good chance of European competition, and anything less is unacceptable. So I think there's goals in West Ham, whether it's set pieces or in open play. We've definitely got some goals in us. I think we match up pretty well, man for man. I'll take it 2-0 to West Ham.
I think the only thing that worries me potentially about that game, and again, don't trust me because
Tom, let it go.
No,
Tom.
Now the FIFA.
I'm glad you're admitting it, Tom.
It's
always good to admit when you're wrong.
You got to drop this, Tom.
That was sarcasm. That was sarcasm. But
I know. Don't fall into the sarcasm.
The thing that worries me is that I think when I saw us against Brentford, and I think them having 2 strikers really did cause us a problem. And I think with Ings and Watkins, is potentially the only bit that worries me is having to face the 2 strikers. I think one on their own up top is something that both our centre-halves can deal with quite well. But I do think that we potentially could struggle playing against 2 strikers. I think that could potentially be our undoing against Villa. That's the only thing that really worries me is those 2 playing up with each other. And this season we've struggled against teams that played with 2 up front. We struggled against Saints, who played with Armstrong and Che Adams up front. I'm not necessarily saying it's our undoing, but we don't tend to play well against teams that play with 2 up top, is what I would say.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see, David. What's your?
2-1. Even before Tom made his prediction, that was my prediction. I think we play well. We play well away from home. I think Villa, like Tom said, they just aren't really clicking at the moment. I think their defense is weak. I think there's some goals in Villa, so I think they'll score 2, but I think 2-1.
Okay. this is a good description. Other than struggling with set pieces, which I'm sure I would, this is a pretty good description of me, actually. Poorly organized and physically weak. That's how I feel most of the time. All right.
Yeah, you
Lucas.
blew out though. What did you not agree with the two strikers? What was the problem with that?
At the end of the day, against Brentford, we had Souček going forward as a DM and Declan Rice going forward. Now the roles have reversed. I don't see us getting caught with two strikers. Declan Rice is too good of a DM, and Souček will be more threatening going into the box at set pieces and arriving late. He should have scored yesterday. He didn't, but he's getting there. He needs to sort it out though, because he's not the same Souček as he was last year. That's the reason why I believe that we didn't beat Brentford. I think
we have played better against teams that play with just the one striker up front, like Kane, like what's his face last week at Everton was the one up front against Man United was just Ronaldo up front. We all thought we deserved more from that game. You know, Onuachu, one up front. These teams that play one up front, I think we are better equipped to deal with our centre halves because you've only really got to focus on the one man. But when it is the two, how are we going to play up against those, especially knowing that when we have played against two strikers this season in different games, it causes us a few more problems because you have that extra man running off, creating that. You've got one holding the ball up while the other runs off, and they're quick strikers, these two as well. Not Ings per se, but Watkins is quick, you know, and I just think we struggle against two strikers specifically because there's a lot more to handle for both centre halves. They don't necessarily have to worry about the wide threat as much. It's running through the channels, and we've seen that, especially against Spurs and against Genk, that when one player slips between Cresswell and Ogbonna, that they can get in. That happened a couple of times against Spurs because they fall asleep. And against two strikers, I don't think you can fall asleep because they're going to be on it from the whistle. I just think that combination just causes us a few more problems than when it's just the lone striker up top.
All right. This is good. Lucas, let's get your take.
I'm gonna go because we've kept so many clean sheets so far. I think we're due for a little hiccup, especially going against two quality strikers in Watkins and Danny Ings. Danny Ings does like a little cheeky goal. I'm gonna go 3-2. I'm gonna go 3-2 West Ham. I'm gonna go Rice goal, Bowen goal, Antonio goal, and then I think
he's just talking us for his bet slip now.
Yeah. I'm gonna hammer the over 2.5.
That's okay.
Sure.
That's okay. That's fine.
But yeah, 3-2. I think it's gonna be wide open. I think Villa will score first, and then from there we'll somehow find 3-2.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this game at all. I mean, our game has changed so much that, you know, there was a time.
Oh, that rat John McGinn is going to score too.
Back in to get booked, Lucas. If you want a good bet, get on him to get booked, mate. He gets booked every week. Yeah.
I can't. I have no idea what's going to happen. In all honesty, I feel as though it's a game we should win. Let's put it that way. As John said, the manager knows, the players know. If we're going to make back in Europe, we need to win.
When John McGinn gets an upgrade card in FIFA, he's always very good. They call him McHullet. He's very good.
McHullet.
Yeah, McHullet. Fantastic FIFA card when he gets an upgrade. Brilliant.
Okay. I have to take my car to get fixed, to drop it off at the mechanics. So I'm going to do that before my wife goes to bed. And it's been a couple hours. Listen, thank you to everybody in the chat room for being here. Fantastic chat room as always. And many thanks to all of our guests, Lucas in Maryland, David, my neighbor down in Boston, John. I'm so happy to have you here, John. By the way, haven't talked to you in months. Haven't seen you in ages. I'm so happy you dropped in. It makes me very happy. John in Philly, and our point counterpoint, James, our proper Cockney in East London, and Tom in the Great British Midlands, but not really because he lives in Leeds. But I call that the Midlands because I don't know anything about English geography. Okay, so Katie, Thursday night. All right, no matter what happens on Wednesday, Katie will be here Thursday night, 8:00, talking to a West Ham fan. All right. So be here for the 8 o'clock Eastern. That's 1 o'clock in the UK. Be here for that. James's channel is E20 Zone TV. Check it out, okay? Go subscribe to it. Go like all the videos and so forth. I've watched his videos. He's really good. You see him here. He talks. He knows what he's talking about. Not that other people don't. All of you do, but I'm just
sometimes, Lee. Sometimes we're talking about FIFA.
I don't know if anybody's anything else to promote. But
I mean, talking of FIFA channels, Lee, how dare you not promote me?
wait, no. Tell me. I can't remember what you're doing, Tom. What are you doing?
It's fine. There's too much FIFA talk tonight. It's even too much FIFA for me. I mean, my brain can't handle it.
Wait, do you have a FIFA channel? I can't remember.
Sorry, have you been under a rock for the last?
Yes, I live under a rock.
Of course, he has a FIFA channel, Lee.
I live.
That's the original insult.
I live under a rock. You should know this by now. I can't.
He's got all his cards and all that.
I can't see outside because I'm under this big rock all the time. All right, what's the
from you? I thought we were friends, Lee. To be honest with you.
Well, I think a lot of things. Tell me again. Tell me about your.
I don't want to tell you. I don't want to.
Okay, you don't have to. That's fine. It doesn't matter.
It's fine because nobody here likes FIFA anyway. So
come on.
It's wasted on you guys, except for Lucas, because Lucas.
I don't.
I'm too old for FIFA. I can't.
There you go.
Organize the time to play it. I used to love it.
I'd rather talk about real football than fantasy.
I'm bad at it, Tom. If I could play it, I would enjoy it. I'm not good at it. Okay, that's the problem I have. Is I don't have good coordination with my hands and my eyes. And you got to move the players all around.
Fine.
It's so
I can
much
play.
work.
I can play. Do you know what though? I will quite happily sleep at night, knowing that I play fantasy football, but I do have a lot of FA coaching qualifications in my drawer and stuff. That's absolutely fine by me. But I will sleep well. I will sleep well because this whole thing has worn me out tonight. No, I'm tired. So, anyway,
my bets are 2-0 tonight.
Oh, this is the Monday Night Football game. It's not over yet, is it?
No, but I'm gonna win.
Are you? Oh, that's good. Well, who else did you bet on?
No, the encore begins.
And
wait a minute. How do you know you're going to win? The Saints are ahead 10-7. It's the third quarter. How do you know you're going to win?
We've got the under, baby.
Oh, it's the under. Gotcha. Okay.
41.5.
Oh, yeah, you're going to win. Yeah, they're not. Yeah. Absolutely right to bet the under on that one. What else did you bet? What's your other bet?
It doesn't matter. I just wanted to slide that in.
No, well, you got to tell me now.
If you're that interested, the Chicago Bulls -2. They won by 3.
Who'd they play?
The Toronto Raptors.
The Toronto Raptors, who beat the Celtics by like 25 points the other night. A little rough. All right. That's good for you then. Oh, the Celtics won tonight, though. Great. Good for them.
In overtime.
In overtime. Yes, they did. Oh, all right. Well, they're looking better. And the Bruins are looking a little bit better. All right. Tom, do you want to promote your stuff with us here?
No, it's fine.
There are 11 people watching live right now. So I want you to know you're missing out on the chance to tell 11 people what you're doing on YouTube.
That's okay.
I want you all to go on YouTube. Others 32. Road to Glory.
1.6K. I'll stick with them guys instead. Don't worry. It's all right.
All right. But I'm just saying, if these 11 could be the 11 that make you viral in a way that you
11.16. Oh no, 61K instead of 1.6.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying
he's getting a calculator out, Lee. He's trying to work out all his subscribers he's got. All them 16-year-olds.
Oh, see, that's you did not have to do that. You did not have to do that.
At least I'm making money from YouTube. That's the thing, I guess.
I make money in real life.
You make money from it, really?
As do I.
I don't make.
Yeah, of course I make money off of it.
I don't make.
I make about 300 quid a month at the moment, which is not a lot, but listen, gets better and better every day.
Okay. Wait a minute. How many subscribers do you have? What?
Oh, fucking hell! What is this? 20 questions.
No. You got 1 point.
Get the calculator out, Tom.
Hang on. Wait a minute. I'm trying to help you. All right. I'm trying to be a nice guy here.
I don't need it, Lee.
Well, you don't need
it. He's just telling us how well he's doing.
I'm doing all right.
This is you.
There you go.
Yeah. Listen, all you 11 people, 12 people. All right. I'm in control here, novelist. All of you guys, go out and subscribe to Tom's channel and then promote it to other people. All right. I want to prove the viral power of American Hammers TV. It is. It is. You're not. You Tom. You're gonna
If
tomorrow
it's
morning.
if it's a viral power, why is
I'm gonna
James
tell you
losing
something. I'm gonna tell you something.
subscribers?
Tomorrow morning. I know it's tomorrow morning already, but you're
Many,
gonna wake up.
many
You're gonna wake up.
15 and 16-year-olds out there.
You're gonna wake up, and that number
But
is
why
gonna
is
be.
James losing subscribers if the power is so good?
That number is gonna be
I
11.5.
couldn't care less about those subscribers, mate.
11.
Paul Scholes' daughter subscribed, I heard.
Huh?
Paul Scholes' daughter subscribed.
Oh God.
She's
Why-
going to make
why-
an appearance.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's
We don't like defeat, though. We don't know what that is.
he does.
Well, I
yeah.
lose today, I win tomorrow.
He's kind of a soul man, really, when you get right down to it. But they can just call him Paul Souls. All right. Anyway, maybe Novelist is right about this. Yes, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. That's really kind of you to say at this point. All right. So check out Katie tomorrow night. Come back. We were gonna. I don't know what night of the week we're gonna do these things. Okay. I went for Sundays. It didn't really work. Maybe Wednesdays. I don't know. Whenever we can. Anyway, thanks for being here. And until Wednesday or every day, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.